the president to do, why he might be reluctant to do. We're going into the fourth year now, and the president has not done any reshuffle. But the chairman is saying, look, there are people who are not performing, which is dragging the name of the government. So the president needs to act. Gentlemen, I can't welcome you enough. I wanted to lay it all out so that you and our viewers will have the understanding of why we are here to dissect and analyze and make simpler for our people. Seated and ready is Focus on Labrador, new progressive commentator, my good friend, Clarence R. Pearson. How are you, brother? And welcome to the discussion.
Thank you, Anthony. It's a pleasure being on the show tonight. I'll be on the set with my own friend and brother, Dr. Duke, Councillor Freeman, and Kruma. It's my first time on the platform with you. It's nice meeting you for the first time. And hi to all our fellow our followers and viewers out there. We look forward to a healthy discussion, Anthony.
Thank you, Dr. Pearson there. I can tell he's ready to roll. Warner Koung Freeman is a legal mind. He's a financial, crime specialist. He's an economist as well, and he has been writing about the future of our nation, Liberia. Koung, welcome. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you for the invitation, and I'm feeling happy to be here. A lot is going on in Liberia, and of course, if we choose not to speak, we will, by our conduct, be consenting to whatever is going on. So we have to speak out as much as we can.
Thank you so much, and we are happy to have you. Let us welcome our good friend we refer to as the perfect manager, P. Morris Croman. Brother, it's good to have you. Long time no talk. What's up?
Thank you, Hassan. It's good to be here as well. It's good to be here with these, illustrious gentlemen, and I'm eager to get into the conversation about Liberia. It's our common patrimony, so let's get into it.
Let's get into it, and we will invite to the microphone our brother and Islamic scholar, Mr. Waka Dukle, joining us from Canada. Brother, how are you? How's family? How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you, Anthony. It's a pleasure to be here. I've been struggling with a little bit of a health issue, but I'm getting better. So it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm glad to see my dear friend, Dr. Clarence, as well as Koung Freeman. These are all thoughtful people who are here to share our thoughts. And I'm also happy to be here on the platform today with our brother, Mr. Morris Croman. I've seen most of his programs and haven't been fortunate to have shared a platform with him. So it's a pleasure to be here with all of you today.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. We want to welcome our viewers. Please do us a favor, share the broadcast with somebody. This is a very serious and national discussion. Accountability is key in everything we do, especially moving our country forward when it comes to political governance, economic governance, and you need it. Now, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf would say, any kind of lay, we have to do it. Gentlemen, let's get to it. The first topic on our menu, in my intro, I lay it all out. So after Jeremiah Koung was criticized and accused by former Lands and Mines Minister Whitman, now he has been visited by Jeremiah Koung. He said a lot of things, accused the vice president of a lot of things. He never said anything, and now he has visited him. Even before that visit, I did not read about this, and I believe this to be true, that there was a call from the elders of Nimba calling the two sons of Nimba to come home to have a conversation. So this is important. The question I ask, and I'm going to start with you, perfect manager, if I may here. Did Koung visit directly addressed Women Page accountability concern, or did it merely reduce political tension without resolving the underlying issue of accountability? There are a lot of things he raised there at the time. So that's why I asked the question. Your take.
Thank you. Thank you again, Anthony, for this very interesting conversation. The issues that former Minister Wilmer Pay raised during his Spoon Talk conversation were issues of accountability and issues of governance. So it's okay for the vice president and Wilmer Pay to go in the room and talk as Nimbayans. It's okay if the Nimba elders call the two men into the room and have a conversation. That conversation about NIMBA unity does not erase the issues that WMOP raised as far as governance and accountability are concerned. It does not erase it. Those issues still persist. Unless the VP is able to come out publicly and say some of the things WMOP raised about me as VP or about the government as a unity party government, some of those issues we acknowledge are some of our pitfalls and we are willing to work to address those issues, then it becomes a quote unquote, brushing it under the carpet and hoping that at some point it's going to disappear. And if it doesn't disappear within a couple of years, what's going to happen is the majority of Liberians, not only in Nima County, but the rest of the country will have to make a conscious decision about whether the country is making progress or the country is being stifled by a small group of elites that are within the political space that are only trying to perpetuate their leadership for quite a while.
One of Koung Freeman, you have zero qualm with this visit because, according to you, you're not sure how it solves the accountability concerns and governance issues, especially on our mineral resources that women raised. But it tends to be now that this may be becoming business as usual. Why are you so concerned about this matter, especially on the accountability ground?
Okay, thank you very much. I don't see any unity posturing there because Paye did not raise a Nima County issue. He raised an issue affecting the Republic of Liberia about corruption and with the VP and Thomas Fowler, and even linking that corruption to the loss of Liberian territory in Lofa. As we speak, none of that has been investigated. Even as the man is alleging corruption in the mining sector, there is no intent on the part of our justice apparatus to investigate. In the process, this guy is paying a visit and considering it, treating it like a Nima thing. This is not a Nima thing, and I keep stressing that's why there's a lot of unemployment and there's a lot of poverty in Liberia, because the mining sector, agriculture, those are sectors that are supposed to promote employment. But if you have collusion, you have corruption, you have pilfering, then of course, the level of employment that is supposed to generate is not going to generate it. And at the end of the day, Liberian people will remain in poverty. So we have a justice ministry. We have LSCC. We have police. They're not going to touch it because in Liberia, it's like once you are a big man, you can violate the law. You can do whatever you want to do, and nobody is going to investigate you, especially if you're part of the ruling party. I think it's very bad. I think it's contributing to our poverty. Those issues that he raised, asking for documentation, they are not Nima County issues. So Nima reconciliation should not be tied to issue raised in the mining ministry. It should be investigated. And if there are wrongdoings, those who are committing the wrong should be brought to book in keeping with the law. But that's not what we want to see, because the Unity Party or even the other one that were there before, the CDC, those guys are not committed. So Liberia is just in a bad situation.
Thank you, Dr. Pearson. So Paye raised the issues as a Liberian citizen and former minister, and the issue border on governance and corruption. And what we are seeing now is this matter is being treated as a Nima thing. Is that how you see it? Is this issue being addressed by our government, or is it being treated as a Nima thing? What is your reading of the whole situation?
Thank you, Anthony. I think that's a very good question. But I would like to bring some depth to this conversation from the perspective that one, even beyond County thing, Wilmon Paye, if we all can recall, is a former party chairman of the Unity Party. So Wilmon Paye is not a small individual within the cycle of the Unity Party. So if there is a discord with Wilmon Paye and a unit of the alliance of the Unity Party with the MDR in Jeremiah Koung that threatens the political standing of the Unity Party as the ruling party, of course, I can see Wilmon Paye coming under tension from his own MDR party and that of the Unity Party to reconcile with Wilmon Paye, because Wilmon Paye being an insider, any accusation raised against the vice president holds more weight than that of the opposition put together. So I can see why Jeremiah Koung will be pressed or pushed to reconcile with Paye from the party level. And then it rubs down to the unity of Nima County as well, which is a very strong force in our party politics when it comes to deciding who becomes president in our country. So I understand that, but I don't want to give Wilmon Paye accusation against the vice president any weight. I see it as political tantrum, right? You in a political space, you enjoying certain immunity, and then when you find out that you're losing favor, you put up some tantrum, some political tantrum, cause noise, beat drum, like you're on a farm trying to drop birds, and then you draw the attention of the power that be, and then they come and satisfy your dissatisfaction and they put you back on course. I think that's what I saw. For Wilmon Paye to convince me that he's serious about what those allegations he made out against the vice president on another sister platform, I would have loved to see that being more credible in a letter of complaint to the LACC for investigation. I would have loved to see him take the matter in a letter of appeal to the ombudsman who presides over the code of conduct for any impropriety in governance. But none of those things were done. I would have loved to see him read a letter to the president of the Republic of Liberia, President Boyka, asking President Boyka to look into his vice president's behavior, which is undermining the overall interest of the party and of the administration. But I didn't see none of those things. So what I did see is just this regular thing we do in Liberia. When you're not in favor with the ruling party, you throw tantrum, you cause noise until you are given rules. And we saw that in Unity Party coming to power, and a lot of the allegations that levied against the CDC yet to be proven by any stretch under the administration going to 3 years now. But that's what I was saying, closing on this for this first round, is that I think the bigger picture for what I see here is distraction. I think they want to distract from the drug issue. I think they want to just distract from other major happenings in the country that has become a talking point, and then to set us off course. But I would say that Wilmon Paye, if you listen to any of his supporters, listen, the national interest of our country is bigger than individual goal and ambition. And so I feel if he thinks that Liberia has been threatened in the management of its natural resources in any way, form of faction, you have evidence to that, I encourage a young man to go to LACC, and I encourage him to go to the ombudsman. Other than that, I see nothing wrong with him reconciling with his kinsmen.
Thank you. Mr. Duclay, when we want to look at Wilmon Paye himself, right? When he appeared on that network in that interview, he sounded serious. And he sounded that he was doing that in the interest of the Republic. But he did not do so until when he was out of power, even months after he was out of power. One might think that, well, he didn't have power now. And so in Dr. Pearson's word, he throwing out tantrum to get attention, maybe to be pacified, because he accused Koung of masterminding his removal. If those were serious against the interests of the country, and he did not raise them until he's out of power, should we see him as a credible person who actually stands for this republic? You are muted there, I think.
Thank you for the question, Anthony.
Mhm.
Look, I think we are missing a point here.
All right.
What you just described is a common characteristics of Liberian politicians. They all know the solutions. They all have the solution only when they are outside government. And this is something that we all know since the inception of our new so-called democracy. Everybody has the solution only when they are outside government. But once they are in government, it doesn't really matter. But look, I think I want to push back on my friend and brother here, Dr. Pearson. Look, Wallman was once an insider, but he did make specific allegations. And these allegations, if true, it speaks to where we are headed as a nation. So I wouldn't dismiss his allegations as merely, disgruntled former employee who's been dismissed and he's venting out. No, and this is part of the reason why always government's approach to these issues are not taken seriously, and this is where the opposition need to fire up and dig further into these allegations and see whether they merit, taking it to the next step. Now, it
Clarence
doesn't have
is
to necessarily
saying,
be.
permit
Yeah.
me here.
Yes.
Clarence is saying, you are taking him to be a serious man. These are serious issues he raised. Clarence is
That's right.
saying, if he deems this issue to be this serious, file a formal complaint to the appropriate entity of government to investigate, but not crying foul because you are out of power. He was there. These things were happening.
Yeah, but that's just one avenue. It's not. I mean, that's not the only way this thing can be looked at. That's just one. That's just one method. There are multiple other ways this thing can be dealt with. So I wouldn't say because he didn't file it, then the claim loses legitimacy. I wouldn't say that because.
So what
again,
other ways you know that these issues he raised, that serious, can be handled?
the government can look into it. I mean, the allegation is against the national government.
So
and
the question is, when will the government look into it? And
That's
before
the
the government
point.
can look into it,
That's
don't you
precisely
think they
the
should be
point.
filed? They should be filed formally.
Anthony, this is where the problem lies, because of the inability of the government or their ineptitude to act on these allegations. That's where the problem lies. I mean, like I said, if someone comes up and say and make certain allegations, the least you can do, evaluate those allegations and see if they merit taking action. So just
Well,
because
in
women did
essence,
not
we're
file-
saying women
Yes.
has done what he needed to do.
That's
he
right.
saw something wrong,
Yes.
and he voiced it out, and you are saying we should credit him for doing so. It should be the institution of government now
Yes.
that takes this up and then investigate.
That's right, because he made specific allegations with certain individuals implicated, and so that should not be taken lightly. He made mention of how people were mining. He made mention about certain things that happened that involved his wife and how the wife was told how to deal with. I mean, look again, but you have to go back to where I started from. The characteristics of Liberian politicians is they always have the solution only when they're outside government. They never think of the solution when they are in government because they are beneficiary to the malfeasance that they are now speaking against. So they won't speak against them when they are benefiting. I mean, when Wilmer was Minister of Lands and Mine, we never heard anything. Now, I'm sure there's always two sides to a story. If the government is serious, they need to take him on.
And do you expect that the government of this unity party will investigate these serious claims?
Well, I mean, again, that speaks to the nature and the mindset of this government of the unit, and that's why that's one of the reasons why the Liberian people have now resigned to the fact that the so-called rescue that were promised is not going to happen. And these are some of the reasons. This is just all piling up on what has already happened and what we are seeing unfolding before our own eyes. I think I don't know if any of you read the piece that Dr. Dukley wrote earlier. We are gradually slipping into that place that we don't want to be. See, and I don't think I would strongly disagree with people who want to look at this as an isolated issue. You have to look at it in its totality, how this government has functioned since they took over in January last year to date. And so I wouldn't dismiss Wilmer's claim as a disgruntled former employee. No, I
Thank
mean,
you.
yeah, he as a messenger who might look at him different, but the message that he came with, I think, is worth looking into.
Thank you. Thank you. And Maurice,
Yeah.
so you follow Women Page. He been, a player in our politics for quite too long. He has served as chairman of Unity Party, one of the biggest political parties in Liberia. And he has been part of our governing class. Some people find him credible and a serious mind. But others are saying, women, really? Where do you stand? Do you think he's credible?
So yes, I do believe Koung Paye has demonstrated a level of credibility that most Liberian politicians have not.
Okay.
Yeah, Koung Paye has a history that we can all go back to and point to and say, well, most Liberians, if they were in Koung Paye's shoe, they would not do some of the things that he's done. For example, he got appointed by Ellen. He had a fundamental disagreement with the way Ellen constructed her government. He refused the opportunity to work in her government. That is a strong, that's a person with strong will. But I also share some of the sentiment that that Brother Dukley was just talking about. So I don't want to make this thing a partisan thing, Asuni, because the reason we're having this conversation is because it's a governance issue.
Exactly.
And it's a governance issue that have existed in our country from post-conflict 2005. We have a justice system that is sometimes selective with how they handle certain issues. If, for example, if Mark Jabate made a claim on social media about certain things, the Liberia National Police will call Mark Jabate to the police station to say, we want to investigate the claim you made on social media. The national legislature will potentially call a public official, Sam Namu, we just saw recently. We want you to come and give reasons why you should not be held in contempt. Why is it that when a minister make a claim about another elite person in the government that is supposedly the vice president, the Liberian police can say, okay, Koung Paye, come in, let's ask you some more questions. You have to answer this question because you're making some very strong claims against the vice president. And if we have the evidence enough, substantial enough, we can go after the vice president and say the law is entirely blind. They don't see your position, they don't see your authority. And so we go after that person and make sure the person stand before the law. We have a problem, and I wrote on this before, I share in the group. We have a problem in Liberia where the elite see themselves above the law, and as a result, they have this small clique of people that try to control the power and authority. So whoever comes to power, they all cling to that person, regardless of the position is to take, and they go about managing the government the way they manage the government. We can't have two justice systems in the country at the same time. It cannot be. We've seen history of people making social media claim and the police go after them and say, can't answer a question. But then when one elite makes a statement against another elite, it's just, oh, that social media talk. They all are just radio conversation there. It doesn't seem to have the same gravity that the regular person makes that make them to go to police station and answer questions. It's not, that's not how justice works. That's not how rule of law works.
All right. And Koung Paye, you always emphasizing on enforcement of the law. The claims made by Women Pay are serious. Put on your legal cap here. Are those claims serious enough for a justice minister to pick it up or to pick them up? the LACC to pick them up and look into them? Or should they wait for such claim to be filed as a complaint before they can act?
Well, the Justice Ministry is not designed to wait for complaint.
Okay.
None of the law enforcement agency, in fact, if you do that, people will be killed in the country for no reason, because if somebody is killed in the middle of the darkness of the night, there's not going to be any complaint. The body will be there in the next morning. The justice system has to work. The problem I have with the justice system in Liberia, whether CDC or UP, is that people who are part of the government, they are totally removed from accountability. The only time accountability occurs, maybe if you're in a lower level of society, as Morris was saying, or you're in the opposition. Okay? But look, a mining situation that occurred tied to the border, in which Liberia lost territory to Guinea. What is more serious than that? Because I don't recall since 1847, at what point in time Liberia lost territories. I know that we lost territory before independence, which led us to declare a hasty independence. But after independence, I don't remember us losing territory until 2026, when Thomas Fala Greed and other similar people like him carry on illegal mining at the border, cause friction with Guinea, and cause the Guinea people to move on our side and seize territory. What can be more serious than that? But these guys don't care. And they don't care because the Liberian people don't demand accountability. And part of that, not demanding accountability, is because we in the diaspora are funding Liberia. We spend more money than the government, because if you look at the government budget, it's 780 million. But at least 600 million or 650 million of that money is spent on the government itself. So only 130 million the citizens benefit from. But the money you say who goes direct, there is no middleman. If you send it to your family, they get it directly, they spend it directly. So the citizens don't see the need to pressure government, to deliver. But nothing can be serious. You have the youth in that country unemployed. And one of the places that can create mass employment is mining, agriculture, and so forth. If corruption is in the mining sector, that is a national security threat. It doesn't require any complaint. But now you expect the LSCC to cite or pay and get additional information and dig into it. But they won't, because the government officials are above the law, especially if they are with the ruling party. They are above the law. So they're just going to push it around and say, oh, it's a NEMA reconciliation thing. The mines in Liberia, that NEMA mine, or there is a mine for everybody. And you telling me that it's a NEMA issue, so two NEMA people can get together and they can reconcile, and if Liberia loses 10 million or 10 billion, it's not a problem because two NEMA men finish shaking hands? It's very sad. And nobody needs to wait for any formal complaint. If you do that in a country, it will be chaos.
Thank you. Dr. Pearson, the policy aspect and reform aspect to some of the things Paye said is, look, the way our concessions are structured really cheat the country of what we should be benefiting. His argument is, look, I'm looking at Liberia being a shareholder in any of the concession agreements. All right. Say, for example, Bear Mountain. While Liberia can have a share in a 50%, for example, or 40%, and maybe 40% to the concessionaire and 20% for operation. His argument is along that line. He said, this way, Liberia will be able to generate significant revenue to invest in the country. We're talking about youth unemployment that threaten the national security of our country. He's arguing that these are the things I want to see done, but others don't want it because they are in the interest of the concessionaire who already put something in their pocket. These are huge claims. that led to his removal, acquiescence by the president, and the president is aware of these claims. According to Paye, he said, well, the president called him one day, or he went, they were having a conversation, and the president said, well, the people are always complaining about you. Then he said, well, Mr. President, did they tell you what I'm doing wrong? He said, no, nothing. But that president who said, well, they're complaining about you, but they don't tell me anything, remove the man for not doing anything wrong. So, you're laughing, Konyene? So, who is the bigger problem here? The leader of the country, Page, or all of them?
But Anthony, if I might just interject quickly, please. Look, Brother Krumah just cited something very simple. How they will come after you if the allegation has to do with them. I mean, where were they when Ambassador Kouyaté said the House of Representatives, whatever, they're all corrupt? What happened? Because that allegation touches them directly. And so what they did, they hauled him in and what is it? Vote of no confidence vote. The next thing we saw, the president letting him go.
Yeah.
So this is a perfect example to tell you how selective they can be when it comes to the justice system. So to Konyine's point, the justice minister doesn't have to wait for somebody to say something, go faster before they come after the person. No, there are specific allegations made that doesn't require any explanation. You just need to look into them, legally speaking, and check the veracity of the claim, and if necessary, act.
Thank you.
If not, why did the House act so quickly against Mr. Kouyaté compared to others who have done something similar, right?
And
but
not
again,
only that the horse acted quickly, the president too acted swiftly.
That's
when
right.
The no covenant was, issued, the president acted quickly. And the question somebody may say, why is the guy? Is it because he's Kouyaté? Can I ask that question, gentlemen? Is it because he's Kouyaté?
I don't think it's because
I think he did it in a foreign country, so the all of that adds up to it too.
Yeah, I just think it's an elite thing.
You come in, that President, I have asked a question that was intended for you, and Mr. Ducle was making the point, talking about the president.
No, I respect Mr. Ducle interjection. I think it's a highly qualified intellectual to make those assertions concerning the presidency and governance issue. I also agree with Anthony Freeman on some of the things he said. Now, but you see, we need to be careful here. When I previously mentioned that we need to be very cautious in a political space, how we go about elevating allegations, is only because we've had history of politicians who inflicted information, make up stories to get attention, to the extent that they even got power. And to date, those allegations and counter allegations are yet to be proven to be right, and there are so many of them to go by. Some have already been cleared as having no merits by the Liberia National Police, like with the issue with the boys, the 3 boys, and the Struggle Funeral Home, the issue with Gloria Mususka, and other people that link to politicians. Also in connection to other crimes, they say somebody built 40-something plus condominium and stuff. They're yet to have those things properly validated by prosecution. All right, so those of us who are in the serious business of looking to see Liberia progress to a more responsible democracy will not give credence to anyone who just want to put a political tantrum to get attention with no merit to what they're saying, unless they can give tangible proof to the allegations, right? And I wouldn't want to advise Mr. Cummings or any opposition leader to get on that same train, like the rescue train, to just lie in public face. At the end of the day, when you get to power, then it becomes difficult for you to govern. Having said that, let me make some things very clear here, right? Wilmon Paye issue. Wilmon Paye is an appointee of the president of the Republic of Liberia. And Anthony Freeman here is aware, and he quote there every single time. Those ministers or commissioners, they work at the will and the pleasure of the president. One thing I want to clarify when you mention the issue of governance is that an appointed official, like a minister or a commissioner, you don't go there to formulate your own policies. And I'm not saying or understating that there are not other documents that you will not prepare or other decisions you cannot make, you know, me autonomously or independently of yourself as a government official. But your duty for your function is to implement the administration policies, right? Their own vision and policies. So Koung Paye does not go to the Ministry of Mines with the intention to go implement his own desires and his own will. He goes there to implement the policies of the country. So what does the policy of the country say? What policy that was contravened? What can Koung Paye show me in your communication to the 22 cabinet meeting that President Barker had, that he submitted a report in one of those 22 cabinet meetings and said, President Barker, I feel that this policy of the administration for the progress of the country has been undermined in this way, on that way, in the other way, and I'm not getting the free hand to do exactly what I need to do to get the country moving in the resource sector. I mean, we cannot find that. Not only that ministers and commissioners or any heads of agencies are accountable to the president, they are also accountable to the people. What substantive report that Mr. Paye put out there that demonstrated that his function at the Ministry of Mines was being impeded by others within the government? Maybe you say I wouldn't do it publicly because it doesn't make sense to do that within the same system. But can he point to any backdoor report or confidential information that he provided? No, he did not. He did mention on the sister program, our sister program, he said, I have documents in my possession of the vice president and other actors trying to undermine the sector. But if the documents are in his possession, why good is the document if it is not given to the proper authority to effect whatever disciplinary measure, policy measure that has to be taken to rectify the issue? So no, I don't want to give credence to Koung Paye. I think Koung Paye did what he did, and he got what he got as a result of the vice president visit and the attention that he needed. All right, so for Koung Paye, it is over. I don't want to spend my time discussing Koung Paye when I can be discussing the drug issue. I can be discussing the condominium in Foya. There are evidence to those. I'm not here to discuss Koung Paye, Nima, collaboration and friendship with Jeremiah Koung when the facts are hidden. Right? No, I mean, it doesn't make sense to me at all, Anthony.
Anthony, can I jump in here a little bit? I think,
yes,
you
please,
know,
Morris.
Dr. Pearson has made some statement that maybe we should dive in a little bit. I think
Please.
in terms of governance, it's difficult to draw a line between the function of a minister and the agenda of the government and the agenda of the political party that the people elect into leadership. It's difficult to draw those lines. They're very thin, right? So there are times that, yes, I do agree with you that the minister is an extension of the presidency. No debate about that. But imagine you being in the position of Koung Paye or being a minister of a certain ministry. Part of your responsibility as minister is to manage the workforce of that ministry, but also align the ministry, the law that created that ministry, as well as the function of the presidency and the party that, so there are complex situations that a minister finds himself in. All of us know Liberia is a political environment. The way the politics work is to have some level of accommodation of some request. I'm not saying corruption, accommodation of some request, but at the same time, keeping your eye focused on the ball, on what that ministry was established for, what your agenda is as minister, but also keeping in line what the president wants to get achieved. Every minister that get appointed under a normal, quote unquote, normal leadership, that minister is supposed to sit with the president and the president put his agenda on the table and say, these are the things that I want to have achieved. And then that minister takes that and turn that into a policy framework that can achieve the president's agenda, but also making sure that the workforce there You know how it is, Dr. Pearson. Not everybody in the ministry will be a Unity Party collaborator, a Unity Party person. Not everybody will be there. So you have to be able to see that there will be people that you disagree with, but the agenda must be achieved regardless of what party that is there and what party that is not there. I would definitely want to see the police or LACC call Koung Paye to ask more questions and dig more into the claims he made so that they can establish some kind of plan as far as saying, okay, all the claims you made, they are not warranted, they have no merit, we're moving on. Or
Maurice,
you have provided sufficient evidence
yeah,
that gave
Maurice,
us
let me follow up here. Permit me, sir.
Anthony, before you can just jump in, can I just provide a 30 seconds clarity to what Mr. Morris just said, Kruman just said?
Okay.
So Mr. Kruman, we've been in the corridor there before. So let me just clarify. The administration has or had its what do you call it, platform before coming to power. They call it the arrest agenda. When they took over and became the ruling party, they adjusted that to accommodate change in the perception going into governance, which is the agenda for the arrest agenda for inclusive development. The Mines Ministry also has its own plan adapted in line with that agenda, and that plan, that strategic plan, runs from 2025 to 2029. It was done under the watchful eyes of the same Mines Minister. So the Mines Minister is implementing and carrying out the will of the president through those plans. He does not go to do his own things. So what I'm just suggesting here is that if this Mines Minister saw that his work, as per what the will and the pleasure of the administration and the president is, who he's serving, is being undermined. His duty was to bring that to the knowledge of the president or report it in the 22 or 21 plus cabinet meeting they were having. He didn't mention any of that. Why would he come on now to start throwing tantrum when he lost his job? At that point, I have credibility issue with him. I wouldn't want the Liberian National Police wasting the time. Should LACC look into his claim? I would say yes, if they don't have other things to do. But my interest right now is the 4-year project. It's the 4-year project. It's not a wild goose chase. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you.
Okay.
The question I have for Maurice. So the minister, in his capacity, also advises the president, right, when it comes to the mining sector. And he was able to tell us about his conversation with the president. Hey, Mr. President, I don't see why these people are complaining to you about, all right, concerning me. Do you see any merits in it? They don't tell. They just say, my man, Wilmer is hard to deal with. Wilmer is hard to deal with. They're not telling me anything. So from what he said, it is clear for anyone to say, well, if the president does not have issue with Wilmer, how come Wilmer has been removed? So that also says that it is not true that the president does not have problem with Wilmer, because if he did not have problem with Wilmer, Wilmer would not have been removed. He
not necessarily.
No,
Anthony, not necessarily.
So tell me why that.
Yeah, so you're making it an either or situation. Either Wilmer Paye is believed that nothing happening, or the president believed, and then it's not an either or situation. Liberia,
no, that's not how I'm making it. Understand me? Maybe I'm not putting the language right. That's how maybe I'm saying the president has problem with women. That's why women was removed. But the way women presented it was that the president does not have problem with him. I disagree with that, because if the president did not have problem with him, he will maintain him. So the president and Jeremiah Koung, if why the allegation against Koung is right, then the president and Jeremiah Koung on the same page are women's need to go because he's standing in our way here.
So part of the whole thing about governance in Liberia, like I was saying or asking, is that every minister, every appointed official serve at the will and pleasure of the president, besides those that are in tenure positions, right? So the president can wake up one morning and say, you know what, as you know, Wilmer Paye came and dream, I don't want to see him again, I'll get rid of him. He doesn't have to give any justification whatsoever for removing that person, right? He does not. He don't owe anybody. The way the president power is given to him, that how it is written. The president can wake up tomorrow morning and say, I don't want to see Woma Paye again, and you are gone. Now, let's put that on one side. If somebody goes to the president and say, you know what, Anthony has really been complaining about the Woma Paye, man. Every day, they're talking about him. And then somehow, some kind of close confidant of the president say, Mr. President, we tired here about the Woma Paye, man. The man gotta go. The president can wake up and say, okay, y'all get rid of him, let him go. It don't have to have merits. It doesn't have to have any evidence of proof. It's the president's power. He's exerting that power as president. He doesn't need any justification whatsoever. Every person that served in an appointed position is an extension of the presidency. The day the president get tired with you, he can get rid of you, and that's the nobody asks any question. That's how it is. It's a political environment. People are competing with each other. They will lie on you. They will make up stories. They will do anything to make sure you are removed so somebody else can take that position. Especially if you're standing in the way of certain interest. That is normal in Liberia. That's how I will answer it.
Wow. In that case, I really want to see a republic where that is changed. That if the president is removing somebody, he should have a reason. If I were to say I don't want my wife, it is my decision. I can make it. Well, I'm accountable to my friends. I mean, I have to tell my friends something. Maybe I have to get my mom. And, you know,
but everybody that told their wife say, I want to more again. They got a reason for saying that.
You must have a reason, and I feel that the fact that the president is serving, the fact that the president is serving us, he must report to us why he does not want to see this minister in that capacity. And you know, but look, you said it right, and I don't disagree with that, except that it's bad for our democracy, and I think that structure is terrible. Gentlemen, we have other topics we have to get to. Koung, you get a final word on there. At the end of it, that's it. The whole wild allegation by women is just going to be swept under the carpet because he's Unity Party man? Or is it because this is business as usual and we shouldn't trust the president was when he said there will be no business as usual, because this is how it smells to me.
Yeah, I think so. And it's not new. Liberia has a long history where if you are part of the ruling party, there is the justice system doesn't work to bring you to account. And my heart bleeds for this because the unemployment, the underdevelopment, the poverty that we are seeing in Liberia is tied to a culture of corruption and impunity. And if we don't address the rule of law issue and this culture of impunity, we're going to have a problem. A few guys, mind you, this thing we are talking is not new. We have long problem in the mining sector, dating back to Big Boy 1, Big Boy 2, dating back to the other report in which 95% of the concession agreement were deemed to be bogus, dating back to NOCOR being bankrupt and nobody being held accountable. So we have gone almost 20 years of serious corruption. If those resources were governed properly, we would probably not have the level of poverty we have in the country. But people treat it like a political thing, or it's a Nima thing. Two Nima people making argument, let them go shake hands. I mean, it's just very bad. But I don't expect anything better from this government, because these are the people who try to shake the country down on a bogus yellow machine deal. The president himself wrote and said that he was operating under a gentleman agreement. And as we speak, not a day the national legislature have called for accountability. The justice ministry have not called for accountability. So I expect it's going to pass the same way, because the ultimate responsibility lies with the people of Liberia. Do you like these people? Do you like what they are doing to you? Do you want to change them? If they decide to, maybe we might have some accountability. But as far as I see, this government, from yellow machine, gentleman agreement, to the border issue, we're losing our territories, to a lot of corruption, even from the inauguration up to this point, not a single member of the ruling Unity Party have been held to account. And that was happening under the CDC regime, and that happened under the UP regime with Ellen. And it's a culture. And unless that culture ends, I'm sorry, Liberia is going to be poor for a long time.
Thank you. Let us move to our next topic, gentlemen. A deputy minister at the Ministry of Health, Manta Morris, I believe she is the deputy minister for administration, if I'm not mistaken. She said that the Unity Party government can now hold on or won power and hold on to the money. So in order for President Bouaka to be maintained, for the Unity Party to maintain power, they need to spend the money. And she said they have to spend the money heavily. And that's what she said. The question I'm asking, and I'm going to start with Mr. Dukley on this one. When the minister said the Unity Party must spend heavily, is she referring to legitimate campaign investment and party organization, or does the statement raise concerns about vote buying, misuse of public resources, and money-driven politics? What do you think she's talking about here? You are muted.
Sorry there. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to read this one. Look, from the look of things, the Unity Party is going to go all out to make sure that they retain power. And that's not a secret. And I'm sure even the oppositions all know this. And they will do all in their power to make sure that they retain power come 2028. So the minister here is not speaking in vacuum. The minister here is speaking. What you hear the minister say there is the intro to what we're going to see come the next political season. And so it doesn't really matter how she says it. We those of us that are watching the Liberian politics, we know it, and we expect it. And all the signs are that what she said is just the tip of the iceberg. And because right now, the way things looks like, the candidacy of Joseph Boakai for second term, as things look right now, it doesn't look as viable as it was, I would say, a year ago. And so there is the political calculus right now is to begin to muddy the water, is to begin to lay the roadmap for 2028. You know, there's going to be a squabble in the Unity Party because there are a lot of people. There is a segment of the Unity Party that is not buying the candidacy of Joseph Boakai as of yet, because they have zero reservation. And so,
Mr. Dukley, the statement she made is a statement of reality, right?
yes,
Elections, campaigns are very expensive. Most so when you are the party in power that can be blamed for economic conditions, you have to spend heavily, isn't it? And it may not necessarily mean that they're going to steal the money. They are all working, isn't it?
Anthony, do you really think that these people care? No, they don't. And again, all of us on that panel, we know they don't care. And this is not only Unity Party, even CDC. CDC, they didn't care. And that's why we are where we are today with CDC. And again, it's going to come from the coffers, for the national coffers. We know that.
Why you mean they don't care? These are Liberians.
Okay, when I say they don't,
these are Liberians who care about their country, who are making effort to make electricity stable, recondition roads, and you say they don't care.
Let me expand on that a little bit. When I say they don't care, I mean they don't care what's going to be in their way if they are determined to retain power. Whatever stands in the way of that retention, they will move it by all means necessary or unnecessary. They don't care. That's what I mean there, but they don't care.
My reading, what she's saying is that, look, this campaign will come to money. And as a ruling party, we must be in a position to spend heavily. We should have no deficit when it comes to funding. Isn't it what she say? And is there anything illegal about that?
That's what she said. But okay, again, Anson, I think you are trying to be simplistic about this statement, and it should not be. Look, United Party is in power. United Party is in charge of the coffers. United Party is determined to retain power. Now, when these things come together, how else do you think they will spend the money? They are going to buy votes. They are going to influence the votes. They are going to do all in their power to make sure that they retain power. And the only way you can do that in the current political setup is for money. Where do you think they're going to get the money from? It's the same money that they've taken from the Liberian people. It's the same money they've gone out there to beg for. It's the same money they're going to use to retain power.
Well, I'm saying they are working. They can
Yeah.
tax themselves. They can pay their money dues.
Do you actually believe that they would tax themselves? Do you actually believe that?
I don't think it's impossible for them to tax themselves.
I'm not saying it's
They're making
impossible. Do
money.
you believe that? Looking at all what we've seen happen, looking at some of the players in the government, what they have done. I mean, go back to CDC, what they did, and United Party is not any different. So, do you actually think that the United Party is going to come together and say, okay, Thomas Fowler, we want you to give $1 million, and are you serious? Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you, Morris. You know, I don't know if you've been involved directly in campaign, looking at finances. I know during campaign time, you know, you contribute like any other Liberian. You know, you have your side to support. You know, you do your little narrative in favor of your side. But the spending is a reality, you know, especially in this day and age. Politics has gotten so expensive now. And I think the statement she's making, I see as a fair statement. If you are the party in power, you have to spend money. Even parties are not in power, you must spend money. How much more when you are in power? You have to spend money, you know, to campaign, to go everywhere. And so she's saying, let us outspend our opponent and we should do it heavily. That will give us some advantage. Is there anything unfair about that statement?
So personally, for me, it's when a public official makes such a statement, I start to ask myself, what is the governance gap that exists that create an opportunity for someone in power to make such a statement?
Okay.
And the question I ask myself, do we have, campaign finance laws in Liberia? And if we don't, why don't we? Why don't we have, campaign finance law? Because if you want to have fair play and you want to have an election process that is fair for the best outcome, everybody has to be measured from point one. But what happens is the people that are in power, and this is post-conflict, since the war ended, the people that are in power tend to always think that we have 10 steps ahead because we control the coffers of the state. Now, how do we address that? That's something that we're supposed to have our lawmakers, people like us that are sitting in the diaspora that have some ideas about these things, is to insist that we put in laws that protect competition so that everybody can compete equally. The one thing I will add to that also, Anthony, is that in politics, money can help you to communicate your ideas, but it cannot replace performance. We've seen that in history where there are parties that get so comfortable because they rule the purse and think that they can win elections. And at some point, no matter how much money they put into the system, they come out at the losing end. So you can communicate your idea with money, but you cannot convince the people that are standing in line for hours to vote for them to vote for you. Sometimes they'll take the money and they will still vote the opposite way. That's just the clear evidence of it. But we definitely need some finance or campaign finance laws in our country.
Fair analysis there, Maurice. I don't disagree with you. Koyine,
Yeah.
should a governing party focus on spending to retain power, or should its strongest campaign strategy be measurable improvements in governance, jobs, public services, and the citizens' living condition? What should it be?
Well, I think when it comes to campaign finance, the government should focus on delivery. The problem is in Liberia, even people who don't deliver, sometimes they get corrupt money and they get voted into office. I give you an example like Nathaniel McGill, Bill Tuawe, Nukwe. Those are people who have been voted into office, notwithstanding well-documented corruption allegations. And because of their access to corrupt resources, they are being able to beat the competition. But this issue is, there are two sides to this story, because I also remember Darius Dillon was in opposition when he went up against Thomas Fowler. And I was in Liberia at the time. I will tell you, CDC virtually went to the central bank and emptied the vault. Yes, they went to the central bank. Thomas Fowler was a one-man Minister of Commerce, Minister of Public Work, Minister of everything. Everything in the country at the time was being done by Thomas Fowler. I want to believe that's where he got a lot of his money from, because he most likely didn't spend all that money that he took from the central bank for campaign. And what happened? Thomas Fowler lost. So election is a mix of strategy and finance. One of the reasons Dillon won, because the opposition was united behind Dillon. So with a united opposition and a ruling party that got nothing to sell, it's very easy for the opposition to win. So it's both that, yes, in some instances, money can influence election, but I think when you're looking at it from a national perspective, it's a lot more difficult. Because it's one thing to go in a little village or in a little district and share money on the 20,000 persons that are there, or at least 5,000 persons. It's quite another thing with the Republic of Liberia, where the voting population is nearing 3 million. So when you're talking about the country, I think it's a little more difficult, but it's been a disappointment also, because we've seen people like McGill, Nukwe, and Fala, and these kinds of people go to the national legislation, Edwin Snow and other things. There's no output. They just go there because they go to a little district, few thousand persons, they share money sufficiently to close to election, and they win election. We're seeing it happen.
That's true, Koine. And Dr. Pearson, I come to you here. Pick up that your cap that say analysis and give me something here. He cited instances where public officials with no verifiable accomplishment to their name in terms of improving the human and material conditions of our people, especially districts they represented, they will go to divide money and some, items during election, and they'll win. Equally so, we've seen others have done that and will lose. Example was his name, former Speaker Buffer Chambers, was seen with money on table, fresh notes. He got defeated in your hometown of people. and Thomas Fowler in Monserrato County, we saw Thomas Fowler with cash in his hand, in his bare hand, dividing the money, fresh notes to the boys.
And Sherman, Reverend, what did Reverend mean? That came
Sunday.
from America. Reverend, yeah, Sunday.
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Reverend Sunday too was seen with money trying to influence election. He got defeated. Vanish Sherman spent heavily. We saw that also.
Yeah.
He didn't even come close. So depending on maybe the terrain or the time or the individual and how it is done, you can get either result. What's your take? Is a ruling party rely heavily on spending, money and then succeed, or that is not the way to go here?
People thinking that is. But let me just answer your question squarely. It's a yes and no question at the same time. Yes, in some instances, money is highly essential for a successful campaign. Like the mobility of your team, the logistical mobility of your campaign team, reaching in hard to reach areas, whether by pickups or by motorcycle. having adequate representation of your poll washers. All right, having proper campaign materials and radio programs for visibility. Those are things that are very essential to any campaign. So yes, money plays a role. In our politics, yeah, money has been increasing in volume as we move from one election to another. In the next election, I tend to see we'll be spending even more money than we ever spent before, because right now, loose money, these guys are giving themselves loose money to the extent majority of them are millionaires. They can afford to spend millions now instead of 5,000, 10,000. Now the guys, one man can stand there and spend $1 million on campaign without any sweat. All right. And they give themselves those money before the campaign even start. They dish out those money before the campaign even start. Are there people who win without any money? Yes. In some instances, people are frustrated. Voters are frustrated. They have been so disappointed so many times. And when they look at what the pick is for them between two individuals, they say, listen, this guy lied to us so many times. He has not produced, even though this man is broke, let's give him a chance. And in our common Liberian, we can say, when I do say, I will put it there. I will not put the other man back there. So they don't care who they vote in. It just a matter they don't want that other individual. So we've seen that. But let me go to something that you were discussing earlier. I think it's important to matter. All right, the nurse matter. Now, Madam Morris, let us not forget her history to our body politics. In November 2023, it was Martha who told us around the heat of campaign that our health minister at the time, Dr. Jada, was trying to bribe her to vote for George Weah, right? Martha was the same lady who campaigned within the workplace among the nurses and sang that song that we all got to hear all over the radio. You harmonize my vote, my pay, my salary, I harmonize your vote. All right. And people thought she would have lost her job and other kind of things. But then President Bouaka won. And even though they overlooked her for a period of time, they ended up making her a deputy minister of the Ministry of Health. A very prestigious role. So I think Martha knows exactly where she's coming from, because if you are following the very Bond County in which she headed the chapter of the Health Worker Union, that same Bond County chapter is demonstrating right now as we speak, and they locked down Phoebe Hospital. And President Bouaka now is ruling by junta decree that the hospital should be open by all means necessary. And we're going back now to PRC decree. We're not ruling now by influence. Gradually going on to ruling by decree that you got to open it tomorrow, effective immediately, right? So I think what she and I'm not her spokesperson, not a spokesperson for the Unity Party, but I think what Martha is looking at is that the more that the health workers continue to cry on the government of Liberia and on met promises, she knows very well what the potential of that letdown can cause the Unity Party. And don't forget now that she is a direct beneficiary of this political system. She knows that her job is on the line. So right now she can say quite frankly, I don't think she's even waiting for 2029. I guess she's trying to say, spend the money on the health workers, pay them properly, keep the hospitals running. Do not do the same thing that caused me to rise up against you in propaganda that caused CDC to lose power. So don't let somebody repeat my style of advocacy against Unity Party in 2029. If you have to spend the money to give the health workers the decent salary, give it to them. If you have to spend the money to give them the adequate PPE, give it to them. If you have to spend the money to keep the hospitals and different health centers at top-notch service provision so that tomorrow they don't rise up against you, do that now. All right? If the money is there, spend the money. And in another way, you spending it legitimately, that at the end of the day, will you political capital for you. I'm not an advisor to President Bouaka. I don't think I should even be saying this. I should be telling Mr. Cummings this when he becomes president. But I would say this in short. Look, Anthony, I'm not worried about 2029. I'm worried about the things that are happening now. President Bouaka successfully demonstrated that he's able to suspend the National Elections Commission chair when he feels like it. And we did nothing about it as a country. President Bouaka has shown that he can put his nephew as the National Elections Commission chair, who happens to be a partisan, happens to be a native countryman, right? Happened to be somebody who campaigned for him in the last elections and won the elections for the president, claiming false votes was won when it was not even won, given false results were not even given by NEC. President Barker is setting everything in place that will make the next election difficult, in addition to the incumbent power over resources and wealth that it can use to make the process even difficult for opposition. So I will be saying to myself right now, I am right now very afraid for the political space that we have going to elections. And how we address that going forward is left to be seen.
Thank you. Morris, I'll give you the opportunity to close on this topic. As a governing party, not excluding money, because we can't rule money out in election. That means we're not serious, right? But what should be your strongest strategy when you are in power with the institutions of government, all right? All that under your control. What should be your strongest strategy to retain power?
I know this is going to be stripped way out of the box for most of our political actors in Liberia. But, sitting from where I sit, I honestly believe that the best political strategy for an incumbent government is to deliver and demonstrate accountability. And delivering means finding low-hanging fruits that can make the biggest impact. I'll give you some examples. Imagine if Joseph Boakai, the current president, said, you diaspora people that are out there, wherever you are, if you're willing to spend, let me throw a number out, $200,000 in Liberia, we'll give you 50 acres of land in any county of your choice to do farming. We'll give you 10 years tax break. You don't have to pay any tax. If you bring equipment into the country, we'll give you free duty just to encourage diaspora investment. Imagine if you do that for 200 people that are living in the diaspora that spend $200,000 in Liberia. Each person that invests in the agriculture project will have to employ young people in the country, because they definitely will need that young person to go on the farm and cut the land, right? Mm-hmm. You will have to work with the superintendents in those counties to rally around the investment that you're making. If the government can guarantee that they will buy the products and they can take that product and carry it right back in the schools and provide full free feeding for high school students all across the country. You don't need long distance to take the thing from Lofa County and bring it over to Mosora County. You don't need to do that. All you need to do is to identify those farms that are across the country and mobilize the whatever it is, whether the rice, the plantain, the cassava, whatever. Take it and you carry it back to the schools, and those schools feed the children, and the government get benefit out of that. So you see what you're addressing? You're addressing the diaspora that can always be critical of you. You create an opportunity for them to be investors in the country. You're creating youth employment. At the same time, you're addressing some of the governance issues in the country. This is just me throwing stuff out of my head. If you do that, you are actually affecting multiple areas within your governance structure that can really, if you do that in 6 years, I promise you, I almost call you Kelebo. If you do that in 6 years, if you come back after 6 years, I promise you, you're not going to have a lot of dissenting opinion against you. Because one, you are narrowing the gap between the locals and the diaspora, but at the same time, you are addressing some of the fundamentals that are across the country for local people to get opportunity, and then they see the diaspora citizens differently. That animosity is not going to be that big. But it takes thinking. It takes a lot of people sitting down thinking about these things, critically about it. If government just say we'll offer you 50 acres of land, that would be a huge investment package for diaspora people, but at the same time creating employment for young people.
Thank you, Morris. And I think this is going to be our recommendation section on this topic. So I will get to each of you for at least a minute and a half to give your own example as to how the government can use the institution of government to make the most impact as a campaign strategy, other than trying to say, let's put money together, we'll give our money and we'll win, right? And Morris, the example you gave is brilliant. Do you know that, brother, in our counties, the government does not even have to promise land. The villagers will give the land. One example is
the reason I'm saying is because I'm aware of that. The superintendent can definitely give that land.
Exactly. There's one example in Foya, right? In Foya, the elders give a land for the Foya Polytechnics to be built, money being placed in the budget for over, I think, 4 budget cycles. The place has
And
not
nothing
even
happened
been,
yet.
but it's in the budget. Focus on Liberia has reported, I reported on this personally 2 times. Nobody from the government has picked it up. There's evidence that their money was placed in the budget for 4 years. Thomas Fowler has never picked it up. This is the president whom time we're talking about. The president have never asked question. He may never ask question. That for 4 budget cycles or more, the government of Liberia put money in the budget to construct the Foya Polytechnic. No one can tell you where that money is. And no one has ever asked question. And so our people will give the land. Very good example. What should a governing party do in terms of governance as a strategic, strategy for winning election instead of just saying we'll throw money out? As matter as saying we'll spend everything.
I think if there's one single issue I'll go with, which pains my heart every single day and which feels some of the things I say about corruption, it is youth unemployment.
Oh, yes.
It's very terrible. Too many young people just don't have work to do. And unfortunately, they are the same people doing the battle cry for the people who are causing them to be unemployed and to be poor. But each time they call them to come and give battle cry, they show up in their party t-shirt and they give the battle cry. But I want to believe, what we economists call multiplier effect. Because that is the largest segment of the Liberian society there, the young people. If you provide employment for them, it will have the greatest multiplier effect on the economy. And that can spill into other sectors. But when they do it, I mean, cool. The guy doesn't even care that Guinea took our territory for
how
us.
much will you suggest be placed in the budget year after year dedicated to, the creation of jobs for the youth exclusively?
No, I see it the other way around.
Okay.
The first problem is if there is not a serious governance reform to what Ellen used to call right size the government, even the best intention will not yield the result.
Okay.
Because I would call it too big to function. 1, you have too many agencies. 2, you have people who are overpaid. And so as a result, if you are always spending around 80% of your budget on recurrent expenditure and running the government, that leaves only 20% or less for the citizens to benefit. You can significantly influence that way. That's one aspect. If you right-size the government, that's one aspect. The second thing for employment is indigenous enterprises. Support them. But mind you, each time they set up a sponsoring fund, like Pro Fund, or what they want under the Unity Party, the first Unity Party regime, poverty reduction, whatever, every time they set up the fund, the very government ministers go and open companies and take these funds, and they never account, and nobody goes to jail. Nobody goes to jail. Look, there is no way Liberia will get better if people who are corrupt don't go to jail. It is not going to happen. Corrupt people got to go to jail so that other people will get scared and not use the resources, and those resources will be available for youth training, for youth development, for youth employment. You can have Thomas Fowler, for example. He's one of the most corrupt individuals in the Liberian government. When he comes to America, American people who are in America, they put Lapa down for Thomas Fowler to work on. They put Lapa down for Thomas Fowler to work on. He has never been held accountable under the CDC regime. He has managed to ingratiate himself to Bwaka. He's not being held. He is retaining all the corrupt resources that could go to youth development, youth empowerment, youth retraining. So that is the problem. Right-size the government. If you right-size it, it will work. Okay? If you focus on youth employment, it will have the greatest multiplier effect. Since these guys came to power, when was the last time they had a national conference on youth employment?
Thank you, Koine. Let's leave it there. I've given 1 minute on it.
Okay.
Dr. Pearson, I'm going to force you to do a favor to our government. They are governing now and they want to retain power. What should be their best strategy here, other than the advice matter is making it that let's spend heavily?
Thank you, Dennis. You mentioned that I would say my mother from Plebo and my father from Harper, but if my mother is down,
I'm not Dennis, so I'm answering you.
Yes, sorry. If my peace be to her ashes, if my mother in Plebo, and my pa being a hunter, I would put it that way. My pa was a hunter, and the groundhog told my pa its exit strategy, how to catch it from the hole. That groundhog will be on the dryer, and the next time you find it will be in the pan butter. I'm not going to sit there and tell Unity Party how to govern. Unity Party went to the presidency, understanding, making argument that they are able to govern, and they had a solution to the problem for the people of Liberia. What I want from Unity Party, I can say here to your question, is simple. Do what you promised the Liberian people that you came to do for them. Govern well, respect the rule of law, obey the courts, allow people to have freedom of speech, let people have freedom of movement. It's their fundamental rights. And I just want to highlight, Anthony Freeman, not all the American people here, Liberian people here receiving people that told my father, then no, that's not true. Some of us don't do that, right? So I know you meant some Liberians in the diaspora, receive corrupt politicians, but not all. So Anthony, all I can say, look, the groundhog will not tell the hunter how to set a trap, because the groundhog wants to survive to see another day. Thank you, sir.
So are you the groundhog? You want to survive to come to power? Mr. Douglas?
Well, actually, I don't see them doing it because they've gone 3 years. And in that 3 years, we have already seen what they are made of. So I don't see how, for example, they're going to right-size the government. In fact, every day back up and brings up a new authority, new committee, new this one, all that one, expand the government. And as the government get bigger, the benefit that goes to the people directly gets smaller and smaller. So I don't see any chance of them doing it.
Yeah, thank you. Because the government is big, highly bureaucratic, the inefficiency and the lack of capacity, is underweighing, the government performance, and then the president continuing to add and add and add and add, and then they complain about money. Mr. Ducle, what should be the best strategy for the government other than the advice from our dear sister, Minister Mantad Morris, saying, let's spend heavily? And then
I have a different take here, Anthony. Look, if you govern properly, if you go back to the first when Mrs. Johnson was elected president, in my understanding, one of the reasons why she was given the opportunity for the second term was that she gave the impression to the Liberian people that, listen, you guys need to give me opportunity to continue what I have started. I was doing in my first term, I was building things, I was setting things in place. Now I want you to give me the opportunity for the second term for me to govern for you. That was the impression she gave the Liberian people, and Liberian people fought. They fell for it. Now this Unity Party government is in a very unique position because they came to power. A lot of the people who voted for them voted in protest to what was becoming unbearable in terms of corruption with the CDC government. So the foundation on which they should have laid, to make sure that they are going to be on a smooth ride to re-election should have been all in place by now. But unfortunately, none of that has happened. And as you can see, if you survey the Liberian social media landscape now, you are going to come across a lot of people who are dissatisfied with the Unity Party government. And so, in my opinion, I don't see anything that Unity Party can do that can change the trajectory of what we all know that is coming. So, as a party, yeah, I mean they have all the political levers, they have all the economic levers as the governing party, but in a normal setting where people are trying to retain power, you appeal to the needs of the most important building block in your constituent, which is the youth, the young people, because the young people drive everything. So if your programs is geared towards uplifting this demographic of people, then you stand a better chance. But what have they done in the first 2 years of their governance for the young people? Have they created jobs? No. Are they promising jobs? No. They are concerned with enriching themselves, because I think, and this is me speculating here, the Unity Party government has learned from the mistakes of the CDC when the players of CDC did not expect the rude awakening of losing power. So some of them were caught off guard. And a lot of people in this current Unity Party government don't want to be on that path. So
Thank you, sir.
they are busy enriching themselves just in case if it doesn't work out, they're not going to be caught off guard. And so really, when this lady talk about spending, Anthony, trust me, they are planning on going all out to make sure that we retain power.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Duke. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's leave it there. We have to go to our final topic to get. So I agree with all of you that the best strategy is for the Unity Party government to deliver. Pure and simple. And I think the party has so much opportunity to deliver. The yellow machine is one example. The yellow machine boy is saying, hey, give us $51 million will operationalize, all right, the yellow machines. If the Unity Party can do that, I mean, we're not talking about pay for. Get those 285 yellow machines on the road with trained men on them, region by region, county by county, clear every place. If they can deliver on that, they stand a chance. And that chance may even be bigger, as Konyen said. If you are youth empowerment, I know they're trying to do something on the youth Ministry of Youth and Sports. They have the cadet program. I think pretty above 1,000 young people they are trying to give employment for up to 6 months to a year. They are doing that. And then the very Ministry of Youth and Sport, along with LTA, they are trying to build these digital hubs. And there is what they call Starlink Internet, and will be installed in those hubs, and the young people will have access. If they can operationalize all of those things, and these children are getting monthly compensation, and they can sustain that, it will appeal to a lot of people, and some people will make decisions on the basis of that, especially those young people and maybe community county dwellers who will be impacted in a positive way by those things. They can make a decision in their favor. I don't think it's impossible, but it will not be easy. It will be a difficult thing to do, because at the end of the day, politics come to how do you feel now? Do you still feel disappointed? But Unity Party has the greatest opportunity to deliver and use that delivery as is, as a market for the campaign of 2029. Gentlemen, let's get to the other issue here. Luther Tapper, the chairman of the Unity Party, is saying, Mr. President, we need to reshuffle this government. We need to do it now. In fact, he announced that he's sending a list to the president of people who are not performing, both at the ministerial level and at a higher level, he said. And he expects that the president will add on that list. Those non-performance, he's not missing a word. He said they should be removed and be replaced. We're not going to be a government where there's deficiency and non-performance are being kept on the field. when you have competent players, on the bench and prepared to get the ball rolling. Okay, Konyene is here. Morris, the chairman is talking tough. Will this happen?
I mean, my respect for the chairman has diminished significantly. Asini, I think I'm not sure if he understands what it means to be a party chairman. If you are the chairman of a ruling political party, you don't go in the media and go talk about reshuffle of government.
Okay.
You exert your power as chairman of the party. You have unfettered access to the president. President is the standard bearer of the party. You are the chairman of the party. And so there has to be some sort of relationship there where you're supposed to walk in the president's office. Nobody can stop you. Even the president, even the minister of state cannot stay in front because of the power that you exert as the chairman of the party. If he has, maybe he doesn't have that sort of control over the party. And so he's looking for attention in the media now. Otherwise, with his authority as party chairman, and that party is ruling the country, you go and you sit with the president and say, Mr. President, the party agenda is not being achieved. For us to deliver for this country over the next 12 years, these are the things that are wrong within the administration, and these are the party proposal for you to make adjustments. You go to the president, you have that conversation, frank one-on-one conversation. You don't go in the media and go talk about these things. The chairman on several occasions have demonstrated.
Do you think he's getting that access? Do you think he has the ear of the president? Because if he did, he may not have spoken in the media as he did, isn't it?
So, I mean, since the election of JMB as president of Liberia, the party chairman has done several things that made me think that he doesn't understand his role as chairman of the party. You remember when the appointment started to come out, the men organized protests in front of the president's house.
He was the first person to organize protests against his own government.
I mean, yeah, who does that? You see the point I'm making, right? He wanted to be, by all means, he wanted to be managing director.
I want to ask a question. Authority. You think if he were hearing from the president, if they had that conversation about, this is a party that is in power, so the president wants to hear from the chairman all the time, will he be doing the things he's doing that you're talking about?
If he had some levers over the party, if he actually was a chairman of the party that had lever over the party, over the executive committee, over the young people, over the county administrators, if he had that authority over them, you don't need the president to tell you whether he wants to have the authority or not. The president will know the manpower. He will understand the manpower. Because by the time the man come out and say, the party people here get on this side here, you see the power the man has. So in my assumption, I'm far away, I'm sitting now where in Massachusetts here. If my assumption is that he doesn't have that level of authority inside the party, if he does, he wouldn't be on the media that having that kind of conversation. You'll not be organizing protests in front of the president's house. You'll not be, trying to be official of government because your party chairmanship alone.
You don't want to say Liberia is a highly political place. When we're talking about women pay, you said, well, the president can do whatever he likes, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so maybe he has the ears of the executive committee, but he does not have the ear of the president.
I doubt it. I almost certainly doubt it that he has that level of authority. If Women Pay was chairman of Unity Party, you're not going to the media to go to that conversation there. I doubt it. So yeah, Reverend Tape, to me.
But the Women Pay is in the media complaining about what's happening in the government too.
Like I'm saying, Women Pay understand how to use that power of political party. He understands how to do that. He did that against Ellen effectively. When he said I was not taking her position, he became very critical, and Ellen was uncomfortable with Unity Party from the beginning of the way until she left power. She was extremely uncomfortable because the way Women Pay used the authority around him to, even when Ellen's son, remember when our son wanted to be senator for most of the country, Unity Party publicly said they were not supporting him and they were putting a candidate in the race.
Yeah,
that's how political party chairman operate. Look at what Mowa Malu did with CDC.
Yeah,
when you are a political party, you don't go to the media and go talk. You exert your power as chairman of the party. You don't go look for executive appointment. You as party chairman, your position alone enough for you to start looking for political appointment inside the administration. But I don't think he understands that level of power within,
All
his own self. And maybe that time for him to go. Maybe the United Party people organizing against him. Who knows?
Yeah, there are a lot of unknowns, but the way you explain it, we have some logic to it, but the two must agree to work together as a unit. And it might be obvious that they are not on the same page here.
Yeah.
Maybe the president is not listening to the chairman, and the chairman must understand that, oh Lord, this is the president, he decides. If he doesn't want to do it, he will not do it. I don't care how the list can be long that you're sending, right? So it's a difficult thing.
Imagine the party.
I don't know if I can
all,
get in
all
next.
15 county
Uh-huh.
y'all come to Monrovia, and
Okay.
y'all bring all your leadership together to Monrovia. Just imagine 15 counties, all the leadership come to the county in the capital. You
Right.
put them together. That's your noise there. Right there, you create noise. But I guess there's a
Kainan, your take.
Yeah, sorry, not being a politician, I might not handle it in a strictly political sense.
Mhm.
But this is the misguided situation that is causing the poverty and the unemployment in Liberia. Because the chairman is into politics looking for position for his partisans. In the looking for position for his partisans, they are not trying to create brand new jobs. No. Their perception of job is to take somebody from on a job and put another person on a job. So you in United Party, your problem solved because they took somebody from on job. But at -1, as far as Liberia is concerned, at -1, you took one person from on a job, -1. You put one person on a job, that +1. The net effect to Liberia is 0. But coming from CDC to United Party, the people who have been running this country, that is their notion of job. Take United Party people from there, put CDC people, move CDC people from there, put United Party, or put this lukewarm United Party, move lukewarm United Party people from there, put that high United Party, everything at +1 -1. To move that country forward, it is not public job. Once you start talking about public job, it means that person has no idea how to move the country forward. Because it is private sector jobs that will move that country forward. And in the private sector job, it is indigenous Liberian entity that when you promote, you will move that country forward. So promote private sector enterprise, and in the private sector enterprise, promote Liberian enterprises. If you're not doing that, move the lukewarm United Party man from there, put a Daha United Party man, move CDC people, put United, all that thing that +1 -1, and the net effect on Liberia is 0. So I don't buy into what he's doing. I think he's just trying to find job for people in the party, but it has no overall impact on the Liberian economy. It's just sad.
All right. Mr. Dugle.
Yeah, look, the way I look at
The
it,
idea of a reshuffle that the chairman is calling for, it can be a strategic governing tool, right? Because sometimes people get comfortable, sometimes people are not in the right places, so they're not doing well enough. And it's something that they do all the time, right? You reshuffle the government, retool the government, and put people in the right places, and then you get the wheels turning a little bit, isn't it?
yes, and I think in a normal political environment, that's what you expect. But you have to remember, this Unity Party chairman was chairman before Unity Party won the election. So at that point, the objectives were to make sure that they elect Unity Party. And once Unity Party was in power, the interests of each individual was now completely different from what was perceived before they won power. So what you see happening right now, at least in my observation of how things are unfolding, I think the chairman is beginning to lose relevance in the Unity Party. Otherwise, what would even bring him to the press? There are mechanisms to address concern. There are mechanisms in any political party how to address your grievances, right? And so seeing Reverend Tapper come into the media tells you that there's some disconnect somewhere. And so I think
Are you not giving him credit for at least coming to the media and talking this thing, opening? This is a public space here.
Absolutely not. Again,
but you are giving Women Page credit for coming in the open, right?
Yeah, Reverend Tapper is still in his position. That is a different. Wilmer is no longer in his position, and again, like we said,
Wilmer is still a member of Unity Party. This is his governing power. He does not have to be. He does not have to be in direct employment before he can be part of the government. This is his government.
But the thing is, Reverend Tapper doesn't serve at the will and the pleasure of the president. In other words, if this was a normal functioning political party,
maybe because he doesn't serve at the will and pleasure of the president, that's why he should really speak openly if he feels that's the way to do it. And by the way, he's appointed. I think he's at the will and pleasure of the president, isn't it?
No, not really.
He serves on the board, isn't it?
Yeah, the way our party system is structured, the chairman of the party is not serving at the will of the standard bearer. No,
I'm saying he holds an appointed position as well.
Yes, but this appointed position was brought about by the membership of the Unity Party, not the president. That's what I'm trying to say here. So the fact that, again, as a political party, there is a mechanism where you address your grievances, and the fact that he has come to the media, I am sensing that Reverend Tapper is beginning to lose relevance in the party. Otherwise, this is something that's supposed to be, the standard bearer of the party. And the chairman of the party is supposed to be the conduit through which all of these positions are supposed to be dealt with, right? In other words, the standard bearer, which is the president in this instance, and the chairman of the party, Reverend Tapper, they are just supposed to be hand in hand to get this thing done. But the fact that he is going to the media to express these views, it speaks of a disconnect between himself and the standard bearer, in this case the president. So really, and you saw like we just talked about not too long ago, one of the first people who protested against this regime was the chairman himself. Just I think shortly after the inauguration it was, right? Yeah. So again, it speaks of the rift and the disconnect that exists. So I think in my humble estimation, I think Reverend Tapper is on his way out.
Well, thank you. That appears in your one of your fellow panelists is saying he's losing relevance. I mean, Morris said that he's losing relevance. Do you think the chairman is losing relevance, or is it that the chairman is not being listened to here? What do you think is happening here? Does the chairman not know what he's doing?
Thank you, Anthony. I think it depends on how you view the political space in Liberia. From where I sit, the political space in Liberia, the chairman of political parties, especially ruling parties, have had no significant impact on the presidencies, as far as I'm concerned. Vanny Sherman did not have any significant input in Ellen leadership when he was party chairman, when Ellen was president. Koung Paye, who succeeded him when he got frustrated and went into politics, elected politics himself, into the legislature. Koung Paye also fell out with Ellen because she wouldn't listen to him as well. Fast forward to the CDC administration, we saw former president, we are in power. We saw the frustration of his own party chairman, Moba Modu, to the extent where he got drunk and had liquor talk about the president not paying attention to him as a party chairman. And we saw the same thing coming from the vice president, Joe Howard Taylor, from our own party, that led to a big split in the party because at first she wasn't paying attention to them either, because they wanted her to have a much more stronger stand on the CDC, the coalition, to exert more influence of the NPP in that marriage, but she didn't pay attention. So there's a long history of party chairman not having a lot of impact on the stand-up bearer or on the president in power. So is it losing relevance? I would need a yardstick to measure that against. If there was one, there's not one. I think the tradition is just the same. If anything, I think he was the one who cried out to see Amin Moda get dismissed when he had that frisky press conference. I would call it a frisky press conference on the minister, and then the minister got booted out after public pressure. So then will somebody say he exerted some influence on the presidency? I think the president will do what the president wants to do. But on the whole reshuffle thing again, it's another political distraction. And that's why I'm a little frustrated we're not able to talk about Mr. Cummings' speech today. But again, what I would say, when you have people given positions in government who are given the position based on party affiliation, on ethnicity and tribal line, like we've seen President Boyka do, or make those appointments. Some people say people bought positions that is currently serving in. So it was not a meritorious practice that happened. Even John Molu came publicly to say that he advised the president upon taking power, let us have a meritocracy approach to this whole appointment process. But he said he was shunned by President Boyka and his Ahinens around him, and they went on doing whatever they wanted to do, give everybody a position based upon how they benefited from the campaign donations and other stuff. So do they want to make corrections now so that we don't have people in government that are not delivering? Well, if they're going to benefit the Liberian people, that's what they should do. All right. But again, it goes to say, and I will just conclude by saying on this, Anthony, look, these are all distractions. And for me, if you are given a role to go and do a piece of job, especially Attorney Freeman will say a 40+ year old experienced man, and the output is not measuring up to the claimed experience. I mean, it's saddening and it's frustrating. So, however they can straighten up their mess, let them straighten it up. As far as I'm concerned, nothing has changed. Until they can deliver, we want to see them removed.
All right, thank you. Thank you. So, gentlemen, the issue of the chairman, I like the history you pointed out from Vani Sherman to Mamba Molu, and Women Page and all that. Yeah, that is the imperial presidency we talk about, right? The president has the exclusive power to not listen to anybody. He can decide to take an advice and not take it. And people feel that at the end of the day, he owns the government. So you can advise him, he can say no to it. It's one thing to say, well, the chairman is losing relevance. If he's not being listened to, yeah, maybe he will lose relevance. It may not be anything of his making. It could be part of his making. This is a chairman now who, under his leadership, the United Party said, oh, we're going to build our headquarters in every county. They had a big fundraiser homecoming program. According to report, millions were raised. There has not been a single groundbreaking ceremony. And before that, he protested for job. And here we are now. He's in the media. He's writing a list. He's sending it to the president. He's in the press saying that. And the president will get angry. What's the man doing? And, you cited the incident where he descended on poor, what's his name, Amin Munda. Amin Munda lost his job, and I'm sure he felt powerful at the time. And maybe at that time he had relevance because the president had agreed with him. If the president does not agree with him, then he does not have relevance. So I think relevance here depends on whether you are a friend of the president, right? So these institutions that we have in our body politics, especially when it comes to political party and when their candidate is in power as president, He can know them, and there's nothing they can do about it. And so it's a complicated matter. I think the chairman is in a difficult position. I don't know what he's going to do at this time. What are the party listening to him? Maybe he has one of people on his side, but it's obvious he's swimming here, because if he and the president were in a very good rapport, this is something they should discuss and agree on. And the president announced the government reshuffle, but he's trying to force it on the president in the media. I don't see how he succeeds with that. And I think Morris was right with his assessment. And he doesn't know what the chairman is doing. I mean, you're coming to the president, a decision that he must make, and you're telling him in the media, when you are the chairman of the party, why don't have a conversation with him? And if you cannot have that conversation with him, the best thing to do is not even put it in the media, because you will be looked at as a fool and not having relevance to be discussing government reshuffle, calling for, you say, have a list to send to the president. And the president said, but what's this guy talking about? Where did we agree on a list?
So may I interject?
Yeah,
The political party is intended to benefit the public, right? Why can this guy talk about the young people in the country that don't have jobs? Why is it must be the politicians always, they must have job? Politicians must have job. Why can't he speak about the young people in the country that don't have jobs? I don't remember him saying anything about it. 3 years now, but he's talking about, move the lukewarm, partisan people from there. This other person is not performing. The real problem with performing is not minister. It is a president running the country on gentleman agreement. And the real problem over there is when somebody tries to shut down the country with more than $50 million and nobody gets accountable for it. The real problem over there is presidential incompetence, where Liberia lost territory, and up to date, there is no inquiry as to how we lost that territory and how we can get it back. So the incompetence is not at the ministerial level, it is at the presidential and vice presidential level. But because in politics, everybody is sycophantic. So Bwaka is incompetent, he's incapable, but the sycophancy, so you're looking for job, you need job, so you say, oh no, it's not Bwaka that is incompetent, it is the other people, the advisor, the lower level people, all that thing Nigeria is so good, some of us not in politics. So if I see an incompetent man and he's Bwaka, I just say, oh, the main incompetent person over there is Bwaka. So you can't solve an incompetent problem with Bwaka presiding over the system. It's not going to work. It's a self-defeating exercise.
Thank you.
Koine, can I chime in there quick?
Yeah. He fired a bullet there, so maybe you can diffuse it because it was too tough for the president.
Yeah, I think it's important for us to understand I know in the chat room we raised similar issue a while ago, and part of the thing with that assertion is that you're shifting the blame from people who actually elected the president to the president himself. The people democratically elected JMB as the president, knowing your assertion that he's quote unquote incompetent. They say, okay, this is the incompetent man we want. Similar to the way they elected Josh Weah, that most of us also claim that he was incompetent. The people said, no, that we want. So part of the problem is that the citizens themselves saying, this is the person that we're comfortable with. So to change that is for you and I to say, okay, what role can we play in this process so that our people cannot continue to elect people who don't know what they're doing? If the assertion you make is true, then most of the lawmakers, we have to play a role in that. And part of that also is the diaspora saying, okay, what do we do as a body? Because it seems we are the quote unquote middle class that cannot be influenced by the millions that corrupt politicians are racketing in Liberia. And because we cannot be influenced by it, we cannot continue to form these small tribal groups and county groups in the diaspora. Rather, we should actually say, okay, as a collective diaspora group, let's invest into a political movement in Liberia that can demand something that is way better than what is being delivered to the Liberian people. Because Liberian people may not see that some of the decision of what is happening to them now is as a result of the people, the quality of people that they are electing. We are not putting our best foot forward. And because we're not putting our best foot forward, the outcome is always a negative one. I just wanted to say that.
Thank you, gentlemen. Let's go to our last issue. The political leader of the Alternative National Congress, Mr. Alexander Cummings.
I'm glad you brought it up finally.
Yes. Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings had a major press conference today on the seizure, the investigation of the $9.2 million cocaine boss at RIA. Mr. Cummings did not miss his words. Mr. Cummings, among other things, said that, look, the investigation is compromised. He feels that he has reason to believe that some people are being shielded, and he's calling for an independent investigation, and that some international actors should come and assist, because at this point, from the way they see it from the ANC circle, this government is just dancing around the subject and paraphrasing his words. And they don't trust that they will get to the bottom of this. And I mean, Gregory Coleman, my good friend, who is the chief of police, at some point said that some of the alleged suspects attempted to bribe some law enforcement professionals. Maybe it happened. So that might be giving some clue to what Cummings is saying. I mean, if the chief of police is saying that those guys attempted, maybe he's not telling us that some of them succeeded, right? So that's what Mr. Cummings said. And I want to hear from you, but let's hear from the man who supports Mr. Cummings unapologetically. He was feeling down that, he thought I was trying to leave the topic on the matter. I brought it up now on the table. Comrade, let's hear from you. Mr. Cummings, this is not the first time. And the major thing he said, I will lead the charge. I will lead the charge and appeal to my friends in the international community to bring independence and credibility to this process. And by that process, he meant the investigation. And the critical question I have for you, Piercy, my friend, how can Mr. Cummings, a private citizen now, lead a charge of an investigation of some internationalists coming if the government does not agree, and he accusing the government of trying to compromise the case? How will that happen? How is he going to lead the charge for it to be successful? I'm trying to see how he does it.
Thank you, Anthony. Look, let me first of all start by thanking Alex Cummings for even stepping up to speak to the issue. We are aware that standing up to drug cartel, especially international drug cartel, is a very dangerous business. This young man has his wife, his kids. They do not have the kind of protection that President Boyka, Gregory Coleman, Fitzgerald from the LDA, and others have in Liberia. So the mere fact that he is even bold enough to speak to this issue suggests that he is willing to put all on the line for the country that he loves so dearly and want to see the best come out of Liberia. With that said, we all can agree on another front that drug, especially when it comes to intercontinental transnational drug trafficking, is an existential threat to any civilized society, for any nation, especially for a country that is barely above the board when it comes to dealing with governance issue, poor level of the border protection and stuff like that. We are having a lot of poverty in our country. We have a lot of vulnerability in employment, where you got a lot of unemployed people. You have a lot of underpaid people in the security sector, in government. Those are all levels of vulnerability that keeps or that makes the country even further exposed. Now, for Mr. Cummings to come up today and say, look, we are concerned about this thing. We are not just concerned about this thing, but we're concerned the future of our youth, our country, and ourselves as a nation. Therefore, we're going to lead this charge. And now the question you're asking is, how is that even possible? look, I spoke to Mr. Cummings on this thing. He's fully aware of the complexity and the complications around jurisdiction. Jurisdiction meaning sovereignty, the state and the administration has the jurisdiction to oversee this matter, to see this matter to a logical conclusion. The security sector and the president exercise eminent domain over this matter. Nobody can impose anything the government of Liberia does not want to have done in this country, but the president is clear. President Boakai said clearly that this is not going to be a matter he's going to joke with. In fact, he considered it to be a very serious national threat to our existence. And no one is going to be a secret cow in this whole process. And he's going to see it to a logical end that anyone liable or found guilty in any way, accused, will have to face the word of the law. So I think President Boakai should welcome Mr. Cummings' offer to be a part of the process. Now, what is Mr. Cummings going to bring to this table? Anthony, when he says he's going to take the lead in this thing, first of all, the government of Liberia, through the security sector, has been saying over and over that they are pursuing this process with the support of international partners. But please tell me, like Mr. Cummings said, it's too slow and sluggish. Have we ever seen any international partner that stood up with any of our security apparatus and say, yeah, we are identifying with Liberia within country on this very issue, to stand and sit with Liberia on a press conference and say we are addressing this issue? None. Gregory Coleman said he went to UK to follow up on this issue, to meet with his counterpart, and the Senate asked him, can you tell us what is it that was discussed? What was the relevant interaction with the security sector, interaction with the foreign partner? He said it's a staff security issue. He cannot mention it. Yes, we agree there are some things are highly sensitive, confidential, integrity of the case that cannot be diverged, lightly. But that does not mean to say you cannot tell the Liberian people who are the relevant authorities that you are collaborating with, and so that you can validate the very essence of your confession that you have international partners supporting your process. So one of the things Mr. Cummings is going to do is to ensure with international contact to verify whether or not we have international partners involved in this process. If there are international partners involved in this process, then we want to know and let the Liberian people have that Basa message, your heart calm down. And rest assured that it's just not more talk. It is talk and do. Another thing that we will hope to see is that if there are logistical challenges with the assistance of this case, say for instance, Anthony, that every drug, major cocaine drug has signature, right? That people can determine where this drug may have originated from based on the drug history within the database of Interpol and other international partners. With that being said, it has been going to almost a month and more than a month. Our people are not even been able to tell us that this drug may have originated from this area, from this region, and the pattern of this region drug trading and trafficking suggests this is the regular route associated with these kind of cartels, and these are the cartels associated with this kind of geographical location. None of those things have been brought forward to the Liberian people. We'll stay in the dark. If its assistance can lead the government to a more rapid technical support in that area to alleviate the fear in the Liberian people that drug is not being manufactured in our country, and the type of cartel we're dealing with may be from this type of region, so we can understand the dynamics of the crime. And last but not the least, I will say this. If the government of Liberia is willing, Mr. Cummings is able to bring forensic investigators to come and join the team from an independent standpoint, to join the national security to investigate not the broader spectrum of the crime, but the interplay within the government itself. Because Liberian people have a perception that there are people higher up in the government involved in this thing. So while the government may be investigating the matter and pursuing the crime itself, an independent investigator can assess internal weaknesses and structural vulnerability to establish whether we have anyone in our system that may be compromising the very investigation that we're trying to achieve. Because if these things are not done properly, and people who are facilitating the cartel remain in the system, investigating and bringing people to account will not work easily.
Thank you. Mr. Duclay. Cummings call, legitimate call, patriotic call, what you make of it, and will that be of help to the process?
I mean, look, I listened to Cummings' press conference, and I tried my best to dissect it. But look, all of the things that he spoke about, I found it to be really. I don't want to use the word irrelevant. That would be a strong of a word to use. But look, what I saw with this drug $19 million thing. My take on it is that, look, this is not the first time we've had a situation like this. If you recall, uh, when CDC was in power, we have similar situation, and money changed hand. The corporate were let go in a mysterious way. To date, we don't even know how those people left the country. Now, what makes this one different and what makes it interesting is that I think it's only logical to say that there are people who are either higher in government or in government who have had some role to play in this. And even if one is speculating, you will fall back on the fact that the snail pace with which this whole thing is being handled. And look, to fight drugs in your country, it requires an extensive work of intelligence, both within your country and outside your country, so that you get a hand of the sources where these are coming from. Trust me, from all what we've read, this thing has a regional flair to it. And from the way I understand it, Liberia is just a hub where these drugs transit to Liberia and then make their way to their final destination. And so, what Kwame said, my problem with that, with the main thing that Kwame was talking about, international help to deal with this, I think that makes that it misses the mark here, in my opinion. Because look, we have a Minister of Justice for a reason. We have our code for a reason. We have our police for a reason. And so, instead of coming every time we have something like this, we call for international cooperation, whatever. The international cooperation is supposed to have already existed in terms of helping our intelligence services to track, to weaken this network. But how can you do that when you have people within the system who are empowering these people? Like I said, this is not the first time we've had this drug issue. When Ellen first came in power, we had it. When CDC was in power, we have very similar situation. And now this, simply because we have come to promote this attitude, this mentality of impunity, where nobody has been deterred by being in prison. Nobody is deterred by being charged. And even he or she is charged, he or she knows that with her or his connection, they're going to get away with it. And so nobody is afraid of anything. It's just that because now this one has sort of blown up, it's become public knowledge. Everybody is aware what's happening. Now everybody is trying to play it safe. I mean, when Gregory Coleman comes from England, does that mean he cannot tell the Senate or whatever in a closed section what went on? He doesn't have to come to in public, but we need to know. We as the people, we need to know. We as the people, the government need to report to us. And so what Kwame said all the right things. The only issue I have when he focused on strengthening international cooperation, I mean, the international part of it, I get it. That should have been in place already in the form of intelligence support and creating network in the region. Look, this is all not happening in vacuum. This drug thing has a regional aspect to it, where the drug came from some part of the region before it got to Liberia, and it was supposed to transit in Liberia and then makes its way to its final destination or somewhere in Europe. So, I mean, there are so many moving parts that are not being paid enough attention is not being paid to it. And so, Kwame can say all he wants. The government still determine. The government still decide what happens. And if in all fairness, this is not going to be any different from what happened during Allen's first term and what happened during CDC reign when they were in power. So they're going to find a way to dilute this whole thing, and then in the end, they would just die. Like what happened when CDC was in power? And when they found where they got these corporate, they left the country. Today, nobody know what happened to these people. So Cummings can say all he wants, but in the end, it's the United Party government that will decide what happens. And there don't seem to be any serious movement on, because I don't know if you guys remember, one of the people of interest said he doesn't want to call names, but there are people that he knows that are implicated. I don't know if you guys saw that. He is saying that there are people higher up who are implicated. What does that tell you? It's a network of people, and there are people within the government who are part of it, at least based on what this gentleman is, Mr. King, whatever his name is. So I don't take what Cummings said any more seriously than what the government of Liberia says.
Are you saying that Cummings is not making serious effort, or his serious effort will not yield any result because there will be lack of cooperation from our government?
Absolutely, Mr. Anthony. Absolutely.
I'm eager to make a comment on this one.
Please do that, and I'll come tomorrow.
I have to smile first, because if Cummings wants to be a serious opposition leader, he has to have legal advisors. I mean, going to have conversation with Clara Pearson and other people like him and coming on and discussing a legal issue is very unfortunate. What Cummings said is good politics, because in Liberia, you can tell people who are ignorant, oh, I will talk to my friends in the international community, they will investigate the matter. They just complete political scam. Absolute political scam. The only likely organization to help in this drug thing will be Interpol. Interpol doesn't have a standing police. Interpol operates from police to police, Ministry of Justice to Ministry of Justice. So unless Cummings running your own Ministry of Justice, where is he going to pass to get his friends to the whole thing just sounds ludicrous. I don't even know what kind of opposition leader that doesn't have legal advisors to discuss something in-house before he comes. Because when you come out and you talk something and it's complete nonsense, you look very foolish. Okay, I mean, I have a lot of respect for him, but to discuss a legal matter in this way, like it's some political thing that you can go to some dinner party and you can talk to your friends there in the international community, and somehow they will take over the case in Liberia. That is, I don't even know which war it happens. The only way for you to get international legal cooperation is when what we call competent authority in one country, like the police or the Justice Ministry or the LSE, send a communication to another competent authority in another country on a criminal matter, asking for what we call international legal cooperation. And y'all work out the details and they will provide it. There is no such thing as, oh, we have one guy, he used to be to Coca-Cola, he was very good, everybody know him internationally, so he's going to call the Department of Justice, he's going to call the Attorney General of America to come. But that thing that just political scam under the Palawa, you talk that thing, he should have even put that thing in the press. That's why I keep saying there is no substitute to having an unbiased, independent, professional Ministry of Justice and police and those kinds of services. Because the way it works in Liberia, we politicize these organizations, and these organizations only go after their political enemies. And they don't do proper professional law enforcement. Only political enemies they go after. So we can run a sovereign country. I don't know what we call sovereignty, because every time you say something happened, the president goes begging, the opposition calling for international investigation. But when they're in power, they have the opportunity to reform those competent authorities. They will not reform it. They will use the broken down system to get at their political enemies. Then when they leave from power, then they say we need international investigation. When you were there, why don't you correct the problem with the police and the Ministry of Justice? So, look, gentlemen, the problem in Liberia is beyond politics. I know you need politics to win. But this kind of cheap elementary politics is not good for Cummings because he has an international profile. He shouldn't be talking something that in the international community people will call like rubbish or something like that. He needs to get a legal advisor if he needs to get a legal advisor, okay? But don't say things that is so unreasonable. What kind of friends in the international community? They put you a competent authority to competent authority. Where your friends will come in? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Thank you, Konyene. I think
Anthony,
hold on. That'll be hold on. Let me bring Morris in. I will give you a chance. Hold your thought. If you need to write it down, write it down.
No, Anthony, I think it's only fair enough that the guy attacked me. I should be able to provide some pushback immediately before.
Morris, you giving your time to him? All
Yeah,
right, go ahead.
Others go with some other gibberish you utter here just now.
Okay.
Now, if you are a counselor, an Anthony at law, as you say, you have your Anthony at law in economics, that your emphasis, right? And you telling me that you're not aware of private security institutions or advisory investigative security institutions that are able to facilitate criminal investigation, then you have serious limitations. And now you sit down here and trying to rub shoulders with an astute son of our soil, Ellis Cummings, as though you have any leverage over his eloquence or any leverage over his technical capacity. Now let me provide some clarity here. When President Boyka and the likes of Benina Yue then had a bogus charge against Cummings that they took to the Liberia criminal court that he finger document. What through that criminal case out of the courthouse was because Mr. Cummings engaged a private investigative firm run by Attorney Blair's wife, who came rubbish.
Point of correction. It was a decision from the Supreme Court that ended that case.
Give me chance. Point
of correction. It was a decision from the Supreme Court that ended that case. Not foreign Cummings international people.
Let me correct a limitation.
Go ahead.
The Supreme Court did not provide Ellis Cummings any legal advice to that effect. Neither did they pay for the money that he provided the money that he paid the private firm to come and do the investigative investigation of that case to make sure that they provide a legitimate and independent report to throw it out of the window. You cannot be sitting on this platform talking about Liberia should get better, and you one of those who claim that the system is rotting, and somebody wants to volunteer an assistance for your country to have capacity that the country may not have. Duke is saying here that even when we talk about security networking, should already be in place. If the security networking in the South African region, when it comes to Interpol and other things, why is it that Sierra Leone still harboring an EU drug trafficker? Today he cannot be extradited to the UK. Why are they still harboring him? Then you won't sit there and tell me, say, that you have no knowledge that it is possible to have independent investigative or independent security firm that can come and assist you alongside you to effect an investigation that will yield results. I mean, it beats my imagination. You making that kind of comment on this high level platform.
Point sustain that. That appears in point sustain that. Let me bring Morris in. I have an opinion on this too, and my opinion will be tough. Morris, let you have the floor.
So
Cummings is saying he's going to leave the charge. How is he going to do it? Is their move doable anywhere?
I mean, I was just enjoying the exchange between the two brothers. I think, personally, there is a public perception, and I want to give my honest opinion about this. Mm-hmm. There is a public perception about Mr. Cummings in Liberia. Personally, I have no doubt Mr. Cummings can do well for Liberia. But the public perception about him is that he's an outsider. He's coming from America. He don't know anything about what happened in the ground. And every opportunity that is given Mr. Cummings to sort of alleviate some of the fear that people have about him being an outsider, he misses the opportunity. Here is one opportunity where Mr. Cummings had an opportunity to say, okay, there's this drug bust. The government is taking forever to investigate this thing. I'm asking the government to set up an independent body in Liberia, a legal person that is, independent legal person that have no connection whatsoever to the government. For example, Councillor Nibali Warner. You can say, okay, call Nibali Warner, set up a team that will investigate the government involvement in the drug and report back to the state about what is happening. Here is a perfect opportunity for Mr. Cummings to say, I will leverage the local capacity that we have in Liberia to sort of investigate this thing further. You know what that does? Somebody in Body Warner can reach out and say, Mr. Cummings, thank you for nominating my name. Unfortunately, I'm not in a position, but it creates a level of trust that Mr. Cummings is airing out in the public. Every time he says, I have international, you are almost elevating the claims that people are making against Mr. Cummings. And I think he's really missing the opportunity. Every time he has an opportunity to address this thing, he misses the opportunity and go international. There's no doubt he has international contact. No doubt. What is missing from him is to localize himself. And every opportunity that he gets, he misses the opportunity to localize himself in Liberia. And I mean, I don't know who the advisors are. I have no idea. But I'm saying he needs to do that more. It's not going the street and shaking people's hands, but it's to have the policy conversation that people can say, the thing man talking here, I understand, I connect with it. I'm local and I connect with it. He's talking diaspora talk. He's talking international talk. People don't connect with that in Liberia. Unfortunately, every politics is local. That's just my opinion about it.
And I think I like your opinion. And Mr. Cummings, since he entered politics, he served at the international level. He's an internationalist. He's a corporate guy. He did so well. He came to Liberia. Irrespective of the challenges, he said, no, this is my country. This is where I came from. I've succeeded. I have come home to help. And your point is saying, Mr. Cummings, no one questions your credentials, your capacity, and your accomplishment at that level. You manage billions. In our country, we're not even there yet. All that lies, 1.2 billion. I don't believe that thing yet. Morris, a numbers guy, maybe he can agree with me a little bit. Right? And I agree with you, Morris, 100%. Mr. Cummings, now, you have left the international level now. You have come to the local level now. You understand? Localize your engagement. All right? Localize your politics. Make it resonate with the people. And localizing the politics will make the people, your politics to resonate with the people. And I think there's still a disconnect there. Is Mr. Cummings in the trenches? Yes, we see him there. And, but to what extent the politics, the language, the talking point have been localized. Maybe he's doing it and the people are not connected. Then find a way to connect with them. All right? Because he does not have limitation when it comes to resources. He says this all the time. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. So if you are blessed, to localize the politics for you in Liberia should be easier. I can go to Sastan today and localize the politics. I will connect. And, I think it's taking Mr. Cummings far too long to localize his politics, his communication style in a way that it connects and resonates, with the ordinary people. And my good friend that appears in, who is supporting him, and I think I like his choice. Mr. Cummings is an excellent son of our soil. And I too believe that when he becomes president, if he becomes president, because I'm not supporting him, but I'm supporting him, I'll say when. If he becomes president, I'm sure he might be able to do well. And so, Brother Pearson, the Clary Blair issue, let me learn on this. The Clary Blair issue. At the time, it was Mr. Cummings against almost like the Republic, because his fellow opposition group politically were against him. They were trying to neutralize him. And then the government too saw that as an opportunity to collaborate with his fellow opposition people to neutralize him. So he was against all odds. And the only option he was left with was to bring Sherry Blair, employ her, do an investigation to clear his name. This one is different.
Anthony,
this is not a matter against him. As Cummings. Let me learn. I'll give you a chance. This is not a matter against him to clear his name. That is the difference. And that's something we need to recognize. Now, if he wants to help, exploit this politically, put on your political hat.
Anthony,
You can make a political speech and like he tried to do. Look, this is tearing our country apart. This is destroying our youth. This will destroy our economy. This has destroyed other economies and countries. He did that very well. You understand? Then add to what Morris said. Look, I am suggesting that this is how we do it. But the international thing has not served. We had unmade it in Liberia for how long? Almost 12 years. When the United Nations left, our economy fell flat. The international thing has not helped us. If we build our own capacity,
my man, wait, let him talk.
We will do better.
The men know our own. Anthony, I heard all of the what Mr. Morris Kruman have said. Those are some of the misinformation that got our people misdiagnosing our problem in Liberia and how to solve it. Liberia has major capacity issue. Anybody who fails to see that Liberia has major capacity issue, they're not willing to serve Liberia interests at this point in time. Liberia does not have the capacity to test that drug to know where that drug may have originated from. Liberia does not have that capacity. That's what we said. If Liberia have the network to have done it, it has been almost a month. That result has not been provided to Liberian people. We are saying if that is a technical challenge for the government of Liberia, Mr. Cummings is willing to facilitate the process. He's not going to sit there and say, I'm investigating people as an individual. He's willing to facilitate the process. That's what he means.
The language he's using, listen, language matters, Pearson. You know about language. I mean, you know about language, sorry. You write, right? We are all writers. We all talk, right? He said, I will lead the charge. And that's what Community is saying. Where is he getting that language from? How can you lead a charge? Are you a competent authority in the country when it comes to investigating crime for you to lead a charge?
Let
if
me
you are
answer that.
leading a charge of a campaign, a protest, it's different from leading a charge on investigation.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Let me interject briefly. Right? That's what I'm saying. This man needs. Let me interject briefly. That's what I'm saying.
Hold on.
Wait, no, I got to ask.
No, he cut me off. He cut me off.
I'm just interjecting.
The man is interjecting, my man. Give the man seconds.
Let me hear what I was saying here. You talking about lead a charge. When you have something that is an existential threat to the national security and the future of the country, that the government is not giving it due attention, you're telling me that an ordinary Liberian cannot lead the charge to see that thing comes to a logical conclusion? It doesn't mean to say he's going to affect the investigation. It only mean to say he puts this on his shoulder to make a campaign to see an end to this issue, a logical end to this issue, that accountability is afforded and the requisite technical support needed is provided. Let me say this.
Can I ask you a question, Dr. Pearson?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
So what is wrong with Mr. Cummings saying that we can get a special counsel to investigate this thing further? What is wrong with you recommending that?
Let me clarify when you say, now I heard you initially that why I didn't speak to him. When you said you should maybe call renowned lawyers and things in the country.
Take that name from there. Put any other name there. Take that name that I mentioned.
Renowned lawyer and make an inquiry. Now, for me, that does not satisfy. That does not suffice given the political tension in the country. If Cummings did that, people will have the audacity to say that they are all part of the opposition and trying to bring issue on the government to find cause to malign the government. With an independent, look, let me say this. I'm very surprised Anthony Freeman does not know this. There are credible investigative institutions, private institutions in existing that you can hire. Listen, you can hire, and they can come and work alongside for you and provide you all of the adequate capacity you need to support you where you have gaps. And there's
so that's one option.
And
Are you saying that's the only? Is that the only option?
I'm saying for the political tension in the country, that is the best option.
Do you believe that Mr. Cummings' recommendation, the government will actually follow Mr. Cummings' recommendation? Do you believe that?
Okay, now you look, it's like asking me in my world of psychology, is that asking me if I got control over a third party decision as to what they will do or not do. I don't have control over that. But I think nothing precludes Mr. Cummings as a patriotic citizen concerned for the people of Liberia to tell him out, I'm providing you this opportunity. You can take it or you can leave it. But I'm providing you this opportunity.
Mr. Pearson, the reason why I made that question was to say that even if the government doesn't listen to Mr. Cummings' recommendation, the idea that he has the platform to say, I am concerned about the drugs, here are my recommendation, and I'm asking for a local person, special counsel that is not in the government to actually go in deep into this thing. You localizing your politics. They're not going to listen to you, but the idea you putting them on the record to say, I am localizing because I'm asking for a special counsel. Now, if you say you're making the international security thing as the only option, I am saying localize your politics because you know the government will not listen to you because you're opposition. But if you say to them, I am demanding the government to bring in a special counsel because the government is riddled with all kind of corruption thing inside. There are people that are involved in at the highest level of this drug thing. I'm asking for a local person to actually investigate this thing. You are localizing your politics because somebody somewhere will say, they may not talk about international thing anymore. He's talking about a local Liberian with capacity. You saying that LeBron don't have capacity?
Yeah,
and I don't respect.
let me come in briefly. Look, my man. Hey, look, you gotta bear with me. Sorry, let me interject. I'm very sorry. I don't really know how to talk political way. So sometimes I can't show you guys who know politics. You gotta bear with me when it comes to that. Okay? I don't know how to talk political way. Look, listen, Cummings, no, I don't know how to talk political way. Cummings needs, look, listen, brother. Cummings needs, what?
As a politician, say you can't talk political way. You want to be.
I don't know how to talk political way. So take what back?
The man say you can't talk political way.
Take what back?
Because you can put rest on the fire. Are you a cook?
Look, Cummings to be a viable political opposition, take my advice. When a delicate legal matter comes up, get a legal advisor. Don't just get up, you talk anything you want to talk, because sometimes it may sound good to you, but the technical people who are in the era, when you're talking, they'll say, but what kind of man is? What he talking? What is that? Look, a international civil matter is different from an international criminal matter. The one you're talking, you get international people, blah, 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 a more feasible in an international civil matter. In an international criminal matter.
Yes, like in land now, brother.
No, quick question. Quick question. I want to add value to what you're asking. When we had issue with the $19 billion in Liberia, did we use a private firm outside Liberia to confirm that $19 billion was stolen in Liberia? Did we use a private firm?
Because it was not elevated to the level of criminality.
I leave with that.
It was an audit issue. So they brought in auditors to help the audit process. But once it was established to the level of criminality, then it is state competent authority to state competent authority. So for you to come be your chest and say, I will contact my friends and my friends will come. If you have spoken to a lawyer, there is no way a lawyer will have told you to say that thing. Maybe they could say what Morris was saying. That would make a lot more sense if he had sought the advice. Mama, look, I don't have time for Cummings because Cummings is not giving me my daily bread.
Exactly.
Tell Cummings to hire.
Your propaganda is not going to hold water.
Let's talk one at a time. Please, let's talk one at a time so that the audience can follow.
You're a political candidate in the race already. Don't try to measure your presidency with Mr. Cummings. It's not going to work. You're not at that same level.
But no, I beg you. Listen. That's just what I want to say. That's just what I want to say, right? Mm-hmm. He was speaking politically, but the statement from a legal perspective, any kind of lawyer will look at it and say this guy doesn't understand what he's talking. So it may sound good politically, but legally it's meaningless. Okay? Most likely it may happen in the way Morris is saying, that, maybe you could say, yeah, let's get some independent local people to do it. It will happen because then the state will confer upon them competent authority status. And then when they are conferred that authority, they can go abroad and work with other competent authority to investigate and this and that. But they say, I will lead a charge, my friends in the international community, they will come. And all that thing, as far as I'm concerned, he's not even providing a solution, because I still maintain that when you run a sovereign country, you must have institutions that are strong enough to solve your problem. The African mentality, something you have to question is, I don't remember Portugal coming and saying, let's go to Africa, let's go to Liberia, let's go to Ghana to get specialists to investigate murder in Portugal. But every time some kind of African country got problem, they say, oh, let's go to Ireland, let's go to whatever place. What happened with your brain? Because God gave everyone of 5 senses. What happened with our brain? Are you telling me that we don't have competent people? Reform the police, reform the MOJ, reform those institutions so they can be as independent as the FBI. That's what you need to talk about. But so how
we're talking about low-level crime here. We're talking about cartels here. So I don't know why you're speaking. I don't say you're talking about some low-level crime. The people catching.
So what is the difference between the drug that you're selling in Liberia and the one you're selling you bring from whatever country?
You are dealing with a transnational drug cartel. We're not.
So what it mean? That Koung Paye friends will can't solve the problem yet. So Koung Paye friends will solve the problem. Koung Paye friends?
No, he didn't say you put in friends yet, Mr. Cummings.
No, his contact. That's what he's saying. I'm telling you that if he has spoken to a lawyer, there is no way he would have made that statement. So go tell him that next time when there is a technical legal matter, he must allow himself to be informed by a lawyer.
Gentlemen, let us conclude here. Time is fast spent. Let us conclude. Let's start with Mr. Ducle. Mr. Ducle, your conclusion, it seems to be the final topic is tough. Myself too, I welcome Mr. Cummings's call, right to have a press conference, as a citizen and politically in the country. I think is the right thing to do. But the international thing, I think I will say that in my closing. I'm appalled by that. Every time it has never helped us. It will not help us. All right. And so we need to stop it. We should not even call the Americans for our problem. It will not help us. It has never helped us. All right. And so, Mr. Ducle, your closing on this.
Yeah. One free advice I want to give to Cummings and all his supporters. You have to come to realize that in politics, perception is reality. No matter how you slice it, in politics, particularly in the Liberian politics, perception is reality. And up to now, for some reason, the Cummings camp has not come to accept this notion. So until they can really digest this and try to deal with it, they're going to keep encountering this problem, because the moment he said international, it just reflects this notion of this guy is, all he knows is international. There's nothing in there for me. So, it might sound very little, but it's profound in our politics. And so, common people should think about that. With that said, it's normal. It's a normal practice that anybody who is the opposition to have a say in a national matter, particularly with this, drug thing here. And it's just that the way our politics works and the way people see things, it varies from their point of view. But again, with Cummings being one of the people who is vying for the presidency, and in my humble opinion, the 2 times that he has attempted, the major reason for his failure was the way the Liberian people see him. He's far removed from the way they see him. So there's a huge disconnect. I think his PR team needs to really go back to the drawing board and see if they can work on that. Anthony, we've talked about a lot of issues today. It all boils down to one single thing. We have talked about on this platform and other platform: governance, governance, and governance. I think it's about time people try to elevate, and I mean people like myself and my fellow panelists, we need to elevate the option of a third party besides Unity Party and CDC, because these two parties have now served the Liberian people since the end of the hostility. All we've seen is, plundering our resources, creating political animosity, and nothing has worked. So it's about time we look at an alternative, because the two parties have now served. George Weah, being an international footballer, sport actually deteriorated during his reign. I mean, when he was in power, sport actually deteriorated. Nothing happened. He has not done anything, and he doesn't have anything to give. He has capitalized on his sports popularity and jump into politics, and look at what happened. So I'm saying we have got a long way to go. I said one thing on this very platform before. When the war ended, one of the missed opportunity was we should have created a new constitution that reflect our new reality. Until then, we are going to be going in circle. There are things in our constitution that were put in there by the PRC, and it's still in there. Nobody has ever thought of it. So we need, as a nation, we need to come to terms with our new reality that was imposed on us post-war Liberia. Until then, we are not going to get anything right, because all we're doing is we are going in circle. We're going in circle. All these things we are talking about, they are not new. We're talking about connection. As a nation, the network's supposed to be in place where our national police can talk to the national police in Guinea-Bissau, in Ivory Coast, in all those places. This is just a phone call. And if you want to see that this is doable, just look at North Africa. Try to see if you can read about North Africa and East Africa. How they do things? They are from the continent. So again, this is not the first time we've had this. And look at how we are going about it. Up to now, it's almost going to a month now, or 2 months. There's nothing tangible that has been done, simply because there are people dragging their feet. There are people who are afraid for the truth to come out, and we are going to be in this place, in this space, for perpetuity if we don't go back to the drawing board and start from the Constitution to our daily lives. Otherwise, again, I will urge all of you guys to take a survey of the social media landscape in Liberia and see and hear what our compatriots are saying about Unity Party and where we are.
Thank you. Let us hear from you, Maurice.
Yeah, okay, so I can go, right?
Yeah, go ahead, Koina.
Yeah, look, I don't have anything personal against Cummings. I think he's a fine individual, but let him get a legal advisor, economic advisor. Get those people. Look, in America, President Obama was one of the finest species of lawyer we can think about. But when technical legal issue come up, it's the people at the Justice Department that can open them up. It's not Obama. In the UK, when you are opposition leader, you got shadow minister for the economy, you got shadow minister for health, you got shadow minister for international affairs. When technical issue come up, those people speak. So I expect Comey to understand the thing. That statement was just totally irrelevant. It was good politics, but it was just bad legal posturing. Very bad legal posturing. You should get a legal advisor when there are technical legal issues. You don't just open your mouth and say anything you want to say. So I will leave that part. If he doesn't get a legal advisor or economic advisor, that's up to him. But I'm telling you, that's what he needs to do. He shouldn't just get up and speak on anything he wants to speak. You must get the technical people in the area to approve it. Then you speak on it. Don't just get up and start speaking all kinds of things like I will call my friend in the international community. We lead a child, we investigate this international criminal matter. So let me leave that. I think there we can come enough. Let him get legal advisor and economic advisor and other type of advisor. He got money, let him do that. But I want to speak on this vice president thing. We have a big problem in our country. Young people, unemployed, poverty is rife. Areas like mining, agriculture, information technologies, those are areas that have the greatest potential of lifting people out of unemployment and out of poverty. If we have a situation where there is corruption in the system, we should investigate those instances of corruption. It is totally unacceptable for the vice president to go shake or Women Pay here and say we have your Nima P stock. When 95% was of the concession agreement in Labrador was deemed bogus, it was not a Nima issue. When same mining was done at the local border, triggering an international crisis and the loss of Liberian territory, it was not a NEMA issue. So you can't tell me that you solve a problem in the mining sector with corruption and other things simply because Jeremiah Kuhn went to pay us and they shook hands and whatever. Let the competent authority in Liberia, MOJ, LSCC, and other such body investigate those claims. There is no such thing as before you investigate, they must come and lodge a complaint. When you meet a dead body in the street in Liberia, you investigate. You don't say let the people come and file a complaint. So it's the same way with the corruption. They should investigate those claims. If they are bogus, then you trash them. But if there are things to it, then you follow the investigation. That's the only way we're going to solve the problem. Or else Liberia is just going to be poor, destitute, and we just cry everything that the country is terribly poor, but we're not getting anywhere because the leaders are not committed to ending corruption and impunity. So I would like to stop it on that note.
Thank you. Boris?
Anthony, thank you for the opportunity again, man. I think this was a very good conversation. And I hope we can always find time to come. I know I have a very tight schedule, but yeah, I enjoyed tonight's conversation, and I'm hoping to come back again. I think part of the message that I want to relay is the power that we have. People like us that are opportune to live abroad, and have the opportunity to hold our governments accountable. Whether it's the CDC, it is the Unity Party, I think we need collective action. And part of that collective action is us, all of us, working together as a unit to impact change. Most of the change that are happening around most developing countries now are coming from the diaspora. And part of it is the investment that they make in those countries. It's good for us to actually engage like this, but if we collectively put ourselves together, we have enough Liberians in the diaspora with a transparent process, we can really demand change, and that change can happen in Liberia. A lot of us complain. We are always the first group of people after elections to start to hold the government accountable. But it just seems like we have all these different talk shows. We get on there, we talk. We are whining. We need to put our money where our mouth is. And part of that is us doing it collectively. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm just trying to see how all of us together as a group really work together and really impact the change that we can see happen in our country. Change is not easy. It's not it is extremely difficult to change the culture in the country. And changing that culture is making the rest of the country to know that we are part of it. Because when crisis come, when sickness come, when Ebola come, the first group of people that show up and put their money there is the diaspora folks. But how do we translate that into leadership? It's what sometimes becomes very fuzzy because it's always, the crab mentality. If it's not me, it's nobody else. But yeah, I enjoy the conversation and I hope to continue to engage. Thank you, man.
Morris, thank you so much. I appreciate your contribution. Always find time, brother. You are right about that. We complain. Sometimes I get tired complaining. Complaining is not a solution. I'm not saying we should stop talking. It starts with conversation, but our conversation should go beyond just conversation into action. And the way you are saying, we need to put all our ideas to work for the good of our country. I don't disagree with you. Thank you. Koine?
Yeah.
Close.
Okay. So
I don't want
oh, my man, sorry, my mistake. Dr. Pearson, after you, I will go.
I'll close for PSC.
You're trying to escape, but you're not going to escape my wrath. You're not going to escape my wrath. Now, let me make something very clear here. Look, the issue about transnational drugs cartel operating in West Africa is not a small matter. And Liberia has reached to a place where now we are trying to peddle drug from within to our neighboring or our next door neighbors or our other developed countries around the world. Makes it even a much more complex and serious matter. For someone to sit on a platform and try to say that a Liberian with the requisite capacity, willing to support his nation to meet and to fight that crisis headlong, is misrepresenting his action. Look, I'm very disappointed in Koyuno, because Koyuno, you know why I say so? You are trying to let me you want to make me to believe that Liberia, as you always complain, lacks transparency, broken system. Everybody there corrupt. That your own words are quoting you. Everybody there corrupt. The whole system is rotten, and you still believe that the system can function outside of, within itself without any assistance from outside. I'm very surprised to hear you say that. So I will say this to you. Look, you know, if you had the opportunity to go back to Liberia, like you went to run for election to be, I don't know, president.
The name is Konyene.
That country name, anyway you call it, will still hold.
No, don't do that, yes, don't do that. The name is Konyene.
That traditional name, Allah Konyene.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, that traditional name, the man is not ashamed to identify with culture, right? The man ran for elected office. We got to a politician. The man is a politician. This man is a politician interested in presidency in Liberia. He win. Then he want to talk to somebody who trying to do something good for the country and standing in the country. You run for a presidency in Liberia, you lose, you run away from there. You're not going back to help the country. Mr. Cummings is there and telling you there is an existential threat in our nation. I'm going to lead this charge to make sure the government feed its hell to the fire and the Liberian people get the requisite technical support they need to bring this matter to an end. And you telling me and say, oh no, it doesn't work. You are a lawyer. You can have private investigator within a criminal matter, and the private investigator can produce evidences that will support either the prosecution or the defense. Private investigation can do that in a criminal matter. And I just told you, Cummings did it right in the very same Liberia that you went to be president there. Additionally, when we had the issue about the $19 billion money lost in Liberia, there, whatever the case was, we settled that issue because of the polarization of politics in Liberia, because of the political tension in Liberia. The Crow report helped to settle that issue independently outside of our internal investigation. Now you're telling me, oh, look, you got to be very fair. And I would say, Mr. Krumah, I agree with you, right? Liberia do have its own ethnic and tribal politics line. And yes, Cummings does need some local appeal where, like the Dr. Dewey said, he needs to have an opportunity where he can connect with the ordinary people. But that connection is not happening because of the very lies and bad propaganda people are peddling, that he is not connecting to the ordinary people. Now, to make Duke perception become reality. Yeah, if he keeps saying what he's saying, Duke, it becomes reality. It's not that the people don't want Mr. Cummings, but if we sit on platform and say, oh, he's not connecting, people will believe that he's not connecting. In Liberian politics, popular appeal usually gets the vote. When people feel you popular, they vote for you. Because they say, oh, the is likely to win. They want to be on the winning side. And I think we should all change our minds and begin to speak positively and agree with the fact that we got capacity issue in Liberia. And there is nothing wrong, and I'll repeat, there's absolutely nothing wrong in acknowledging your capacity gaps and soliciting support from outside that will bridge that gap for you while you build your own capacity. With that, I want to land here, Anthony. It was a nice having me on the platform. It was nice having me on the platform tonight, because if not, then Kayana are going to get away with his political spin, with his politics, by putting a riot to fly.
Gentlemen,
you need to do something about this one.
Gentlemen, thank you. And on behalf of our audience, I want to say again, thank you.
Man, you know, we've been here 3 hours.
Yeah, we've been here 3 hours. This is the longest it has gotten right, and
Yeah.
maybe for the
Well, it
right
was such a
reason.
lively debate.
It
But
was worth it though.
we'll try to minimize it, but I think it was for the right reason. So, gentlemen,
Oh
I
yeah,
can't
oh
thank
yeah.
you enough for us having yet another discussion about our country. We are only asking our policy makers and our leaders, when we say governance, let them govern us. Doing the right thing is always the right way to go. And in as much as they do that, I think we'll be taking some baby steps. I wanted to close very tough on this topic, but I want to maintain my neutrality. And so I will leave it. But on this note, the international thing, we have to find a balance. I am all for collaborating, cooperation, seeking investments, bringing investment from other countries to come and invest in your country. But when it comes to governance solutions, we have to devise our own solutions and collaborate with our friends to do it. But not every little thing will be running.
Dr. Pearson, I have a
America.
proposal for Mr. Cummings. I'll talk to you offline about it. Hopefully, it's something you can talk to him about.
Thank you, brother. Anything will help. Liberia in the whole right now. Anything can help.
Yeah, it's very inexpensive.
And so
Yeah,
to
but
our
it's
audience,
something that-
before I leave, this is something I want to share with you. Focus on Liberia. I post the link in the live feed there multiple times. We have launched our online newspaper that you can go every day and read. We will do our best. Konyene will be writing, Pearson will be writing, I'll be writing, Dennis will be writing. We are soliciting articles, opinions, analysis from any Liberian. You can send it to us. We will publish it on our page so that we can all. And if you have a recommendation to the government, anything of policy, it can be any topic. It can be a poem that you have. Send it to Focus on Liberia. We'll put it on our page. If you go to our page, we launched it today. We got some articles there. It is the best you can find in the whole Republic. The best online newspaper you can find in the Republic in terms of design and quality. That's the Focus on Liberia online newspaper that we launched today. Any Liberians under the sound of my voice, even when I send a baby story you have, you want it to be published, send it to us. We'll put it on our page. Everything is important when it comes to telling our nation's story, whether it's accountability, whether it's politics, whether it's economics. And those of you are in business, if you want to advertise your business, anything you want to advertise, come to us. We have a place there for advertisement also. And we're not charging money. All right. We're not charging money. Just come and talk to us, and your article, your advertisement, whatever you
But
have.
not charging money, you think it's a good thing?
My man, I'm talking like businessman here. We're not charging money. Just come and talk to us.
Okay.
This is a big platform we're running. Of course, we need funds to sustain it. And the Liberians know that if the government can take money to do their thing, yes. But we are talking to you. Come to us. Let's talk. This might be your way of contributing to Focus on Liberia.
Do you want international support?
I want international support. I want international support, but international support is not to come and run the newspaper for us. No, we have the capacity to run it. All right. If Mr. Cummings was saying, well, send the LDA and I get money, to buy the machine that will test whether that cocaine, let me give that money. Well, can you imagine our country up to now, we don't have a testing machine to test the drugs? And the
But we're
DEA
building a $10 million mansion in the forest in Foya.
But we have money in the budget waiting for the money. 3 years now, you've been working, and the president declared drugs as an emergency, and you don't have that machine, but the president get a little bulletproof car, you get a little private jet anytime. Then the drugs, you say this is a national emergency. The president declared national emergency on the drugs like 3 times now, right? Maybe 2 or 3 times.
And he has taken drug tests.
He took drugs there, but no lab machine set to test whether that cocaine, whether that kush, we don't have it in the budget. It coming, has not arrived, folks. It is our country. Let us hold our leaders accountable. And to you, our leaders, when you listen to us, it's because we want the best for our country. All right. So Focus on Liberia is here as a vehicle for a national conversation, telling the story of our country so that we can make it better. On that note, we will end with our song that says, "We are all Liberians." Until we catch you again tomorrow, I'm planning another show. I'll be here. I'll reach out to the panelists so that we can discuss something. If I don't get you, I'm going solo. All right. Bye-bye.
We are Liberia. Liberia is our home. Liberia people.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jar.